Hello, council.
We got one on the phone for everybody.
Okay. So this is just, I'll just give a quick spiel, kicking off our appropriation requests for this FY23 season. Some of you all have the fact sheet. Basically, the approach we took this year was if the applicant requested additional funding in comparison to FY22, then they were contacted and scheduled to come in and present today. So I think we have 16 applicants. We're going to try to stick to 10 minutes. We do have a 5 o'clock work session, so just try to do your best to stay within your 10 minutes. We're not going to do anything bad or anything if you go over, but just keep that in mind in case we do start to spill over. So I think first on our list for 1 o'clock is Miss Mitchell with the Carnegie Visual Arts. So I'll let you take it away. And they have what you requested and all that stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all for letting me come and tell y'all about what we've been doing the past several months and what we're going to be doing going forward. We have just finished a great summer of camps. We had 2 camps. Both of them were sold out. I think some of y'all up there on the panel may have experienced some of that, and it was awesome. We were able to serve the community. We were also able to give out scholarships for those camps through our relationships with art teachers in the school system. They nominated a child that has a lot of potential that might not be able to come to camp, and we're able to bring those kids to camp for free. We are now finished with camp, and we're going to go straight into a state cook-off at Ingalls Harbor on August 20th. Then we'll go into River Clay, and my whole staff works on River Clay Fine Arts Festival that'll be here on the City Hall campus October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. That's a great thing for our city that we are very excited to participate in. After we finish River Clay, we'll go straight into Carnegie Carnival that has become a major city event and a tourism draw, a wonderful event for our whole city. We will do that, and then also in between all that, we'll have exhibits at the Carnegie. We'll have exhibits at the Huntsville International Airport where we have an exhibit space there that we're able to promote Decatur and the Carnegie there, and we also have an annex at the Somerville Library. So we have a lot of ways that we try to reach out into the community and have programming and serve out our mission, which is passionately promoting art for all. The reason I ask for the appropriation that we ask is that it would enable us to have more operational help so we can do more programming and do more out in the community and touch more adults and students. I have a great staff and we're ready to go. It would be nice not to have the burden of so much of everyday expenses and use that more toward the purpose of the reason we're here is to enrich our community.
Okay, do you have any questions? My only, how many people on staff?
We have, let me see. We have 5 staff members.
And then other funding, I know obviously the Carnival is your biggest,
Yes.
a big fundraiser.
It is a big fundraiser for us, yes.
Yeah.
And which we're very fortunate to have.
Yeah.
But that also enables us to do programming.
Yeah.
And but we also get funding from the Alabama State Council on the Arts.
Okay. Does the county do any?
No.
Okay. All right, anything, Kyle?
Okay,
That's
great.
all I've got.
All right, well, thanks.
Kim?
We're already 5 minutes ahead.
I have the Community Action Partnership. Is that you, sir? I guess it's grandparents and Meals on Wheels? Or are you?
I think
Okay.
Cindy will be here in a little bit. So.
Okay.
This is the man right here.
Otherwise, I had to wing it, right? Well, it's a pleasure addressing City Council. Hope to see Mayor Bolding here, but he must be busy today. So
That's what
who
he
knows?
says.
That's what he says. But I'm Tim Thrasher. I'm the CEO of Community Action Partnership, and Chantal could not make it today. She's out on maternity leave, so just had a baby, so apologize. But she is taking care of that baby for a few more weeks until we get back. Talking about the Foster Grandparent Program this morning. That's a federally funded program, mainly through AmeriCorps. we utilize community dollars through the City Council of the City of Decatur for a match on those, and it's usually a 10% match in these programs. I think in times past we've combined both programs, so the additional ask is probably because we divided the programs and they're both asking. So there's a foster grandparent and a senior companion program as well. Just to let you know kind of a little bit about the senior companion program, it's for 55 and above. We pay them a slight stipend, which went up to $315 during the pandemic times. So that actually is tax-free to those that are on Social Security, those in that age bracket, and it helps them with additional gas, food monies right now. It also provides for at-risk children in the school systems here in Decatur and even Morgan County, in the Coleman and Lawrence County areas. It provides actually those at-risk students literacy and math skills. Those students are selected by the schools. In the summer, we do some summer programs as well, like Boys and Girls Clubs and others. And what that does is last year we served with 37 volunteers. We can use 1,700, almost 1,700 hours, 17,500 hours, excuse me. And we increased their math and literacy scores to 168 students by 90%. So that's kind of the results and the impact on this community that has, but we couldn't really do it without that match that goes. Same thing with our senior companion programs, although they don't serve young individuals within the school systems, they serve those that are elderly and above 55 themselves, which provides those caregivers and their family caregivers the ability to be in their homes. So appreciate the opportunity to share today. If you have any questions, feel free to try.
So the match is for a federal grant?
It's for a federal grant. AmeriCorps is actually our grant funder for both programs. And it doesn't cover the entire match, but it covers.
Okay, and it's for the foster grandparents and the senior companions.
And senior
both.
companions,
Okay.
that's correct. We try to separate those out because they are separate programs.
It is on our sheet, I think.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions.
Good. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Are you Mississippi?
Carlton, you got any questions?
Come on.
That's right.
Yeah, we're
Efficiency.
being efficient. If you would like to wait, we can go with Miss Kelly. It's up to you. Your schedule.
She's like 40 minutes away.
Come on, Miss. Come on.
How long have you been waiting, Marlon?
It just started, it's fine.
Go ahead. She's literally been.
Hey, if we let her go now, she'll have us behind schedule, so we'll let you go.
Okay, well, never mind. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Thank you.
So I appreciate the opportunity to come. You've both heard this at least a few years now, so it's good to have the opportunity to remind you about the importance of Meals on Wheels and what we do here in the community. I'm Cindy Anderson. I'm the Director of Community Services. I have an amazing job where I get to serve others every day. And y'all just met my boss, and he allows me to do that. So, and I get paid to do that. Isn't that cool? So I'm sure he shared with you that our mission is to reduce or eliminate the causes and consequences of poverty.
He actually didn't.
He didn't.
I didn't share that.
He was trying to save you something.
Yeah.
He teed it up
I got
for you.
you. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've tweaked it a little bit. So one of the consequences of poverty is hunger. And so our Meals on Wheels program was created 50 years ago to meet this need in the community, to help homebound disabled individuals with their nutritional needs. Our meals are prepared at the kitchen. We say that they're prepared with love. I check in with Shantez, our amazing kitchen manager, on a regular basis just to see how things are going. And so I told her, I said, well, what'd you have today? So she sent me this picture, and it looks like something that you would go to a restaurant and get. They had meatballs with brown gravy over rice pilaf, mixed vegetables, pineapple chunks with a slice of bread on top. Very impressive. And we try to do that for our clients. Now, I'm not saying every day it's that great, but we care about our clients and meeting their needs and want them to feel loved when they open that little styrofoam container, to know that somebody cared about them. Somebody wanted them to know that they put some thought into that and getting them that nutritional meal. So our meals are prepared at no cost to the client, which is a tremendous benefit. We do have some of our clients' family that will make contributions occasionally, and that's always nice, but there's no cost. Before the pandemic, we were serving an average of 300 meals a day, 5 days a week. So because of the pandemic, we had to scale it back just like everybody else. So we started delivering just weekly care packages. We were having contactless, we bought coolers, we just put care packages basically. So gradually we've increased, and as of last week, we're delivering Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're also delivering care packages, but we're providing a hot meal again Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. One of the challenges that we've had is our volunteers. We had about 50 regular volunteers back before the pandemic, and that number has decreased significantly since the pandemic. We're down to an average of about 18, and we're lucky to have those, but we're working to increase that volunteer base so we can deliver more meals. So if you need something to do in your spare time, if you have someone in your household that would like to have a volunteer opportunity, maybe your Sunday school class, we're always looking for people that will volunteer to deliver. We do a background check on them because we do want to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect our meal recipients, because they're alone most of the time anyway. You can see in your proposal, our operating budget is just over $276,000 a year, which is really not a lot, probably compared to a lot of the budgets requests that you have. We are requesting $20,000 again. But with that money, over the last 12 months, we've been able to provide over 66,000 meals, which is a lot when you look at such a small budget. And we're so frugal with every dollar. We have partners that Publix gives us donated items that we can pass on to our clients. So we watch every penny. Right now, our average cost per meal is right at $4. This time last year it was like $4.25. So we've actually gone down a little bit on our food costs, but now probably our gas cost is gonna increase some. But we're staying, like I said, we watch what we spend and watch every penny. So, and also our volunteers, they pay for their own gas. So, we have 3 vans that our staff use, and that's what we're paying for gas on. So our dream team, we have 1 full-time kitchen manager and 4 part-time employees. They're the ones that make all the magic happen. I would love for you, if you've never had the opportunity, I would love for you to come to the kitchen and just visit, because it is like such a well-oiled machine. Shantez and usually one other person gets there like at 6 to start the meals. Then our other staff get there at 8. They have this plating process, just a assembly line type thing. In an hour, we have all the all the food packaged in containers and in coolers, and ready for the volunteers. So if you haven't had an opportunity, I would definitely encourage you. Thane, have you ever done that? You need to come over and experience it so you can write about it. We would love to have you over there. So, like I've told you before, it's so much more than just about that meal. It's about social interaction. It's about finding out if they have other needs. Of course, it helps them with their grocery bills, but it's just knowing that somebody's checking on them and care about them. If we can't get you to the door, we're going to try to call. We've got emergency contacts for the majority of our clients. We'll reach out to their family if we can't get them. So I had the opportunity Friday, one of our regular volunteers was out with COVID, so I had the opportunity to deliver a route. Took me longer than expected. It was like 24 people on the route. Took me about 2 hours, but it was a lot of apartments, upstairs and downstairs, and it was so heartwarming. I don't want to get emotional, but I might, because it had been a minute since I was able to deliver meals. And it just warmed my heart because there were so many people that their doors were cracked. They were waiting on me to show up. Just a smile, a nutritional meal, and a kind word, just somebody to check on them, to see how they're doing. That just reinforces the value that we add to the community. Several people had pets, so I got to love on some dogs, and that's always good. Next time I'm going to take dog treats because the dogs were expecting treats, actually. Apparently our regular volunteers carry dog treats in their pocket. I had forgotten about that, so that's something that I will do definitely next time. We're really lucky because, I don't know if you remember in the past, we had a partnership with the Humane Society, and they provided pet food for our clients, anybody that had a pet. And they had some challenges in their program and didn't have enough food, so they are back in business now, and so they're providing pet food to our clients that have pets. So that's a wonderful partnership that we are so glad that we have back in place. So I mentioned the importance of our program. You know, it allows our recipients to be independent and to stay in their own homes. We all know as we age how important that is, just that independence and the ability to stay where you're comfortable and where you're familiar means so much. To have regular contact and social interaction means so much. I mentioned that, you know, it reduces their food costs. And sometimes it may be that we can help a household who's just in transition. Might be that they've had a car accident and they're recovering and they can't physically get up and prepare their own meals. So sometimes it may just be that we're helping someone who's recovering from a surgery or something. Maybe only 2 or 3 months, but it will temporarily get them through that transitional period. I touched on, you know, we also, because we, you know, it's about those relationships and seeing what their needs are, we also let them know about other community resources that might be available to them. Could be a senior companion, you know, which our agency operates. It could be that they need a wheelchair ramp, and so we'll get them in touch with the volunteer center. It may be help with their yard work, and there's always youth groups in our area that are willing to do that. Sometimes it may be that we have to contact DHR because their living conditions are not where they need to be. They might not be in a safe environment. So unfortunately, we've had that happen before. So, you know, it's just so much more than just about a meal. I don't think I shared with you the qualifications for the program. The individual has to be homebound, or their driving be very limited. They have to be physically or mentally unable to prepare their own meals. We do have some that have mental challenges. I had the opportunity to see one of them on Friday, and it just warmed my heart just to be able to deliver a meal to her. And she was one of the ones that was out in the 95 degrees. She was on her porch waiting on me. But it just, that's what it's about. So also they have to be alone during the day. It might be that they may be married, but their spouse may work, so they don't have somebody to prepare their meal for them. In many situations, it might be multiple individuals that need the meals. We have multi-generational homes where there may be a husband and a wife, they can't prepare, and their adult child is mentally challenged. And so we do have a couple of households like that where there's, we're delivering 3 meals. And also we have to have a referral from either their doctor, hospice, home health, DHR, someone that knows their physical limitations. So we do a survey every year to see how we can improve our services. And just a couple of the statistics I wanted to share. 90% of our meal recipients say our portion sizes are enough. We've actually been told before that some of them will save some of their meal to have for dinner. 82% say that they're able to live more independently because of the services. And then the last one is 85% report a higher overall quality of life because of the services that they get from Meals on Wheels. So we truly make a difference in the community. We would love for you to come and visit the kitchen. We would love for you to deliver meals. I would love for you to get to experience what I did on Friday, and just to see the faces and the anticipation of just somebody just anxiously awaiting your arrival. And that is just amazing. So, do y'all have any questions of me?
I think you answered everything for me. I have got to tour the kitchen before. It's pretty impressive. So,
Have you ever got to deliver a route?
my cousin used to deliver regularly. I'd rode with him a few times, but
Okay.
it's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, we would love for you to come back. You could ride along with one of our staff. We would love for you to do that. It just, it really makes you appreciate your own independence. And it just, it moves you. Tim delivers, he knows, he sees it, and he knows the anticipation that people have, just, they're waiting to see you.
How large is your staff?
We have 1 full-time and 4 part-time staff.
Okay. 4 part-time.
Yes.
And your budget is that mostly food costs, and then you got vans and some staff?
Yes,
small
yes,
staff?
yes. Our building was paid for by John Cook, Cook's
Okay.
Pest Control. And so, that eliminates a lot of expense for us. So mostly it is personnel and then food costs, yes.
And the rest of the budget is from federal, how does that, y'all just
We
local dollars?
we
or-
get a small, less than 1% of our budget's like City of Hartselle gives us
Okay.
just a real small amount. And we get 55,000 community service block grant
Yeah.
dollars that we're able to use through the state. Decatur Daily does a fundraiser for us. And then the rest is usually just individual contributions and churches. So yeah.
Good.
Oh, United Way is a
Okay.
tremendous sponsor, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, they're like 45% of our budget. So, yeah, they're a great partner to us.
I don't have anything
I'm
else.
good.
Thanks, Cindy.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
sure.
forget Carlton's on there.
Carlton, you got anything? Alright. We need to warn everybody.
I think Amy's here.
Okay.
She's
Oh, is she gonna bring food
She
again?
is.
She's definitely got a basket of something.
What?
She brings food and she said that's a bribe.
What did you bring, Kelly?
That's why y'all are always happy to see me. Well.
She always brings a sample.
Yeah, get the.
Herman probably didn't have dessert at lunch because he knew this was coming.
Herman, is this legal? Okay.
Alright, so it's like my turn, right?
It is. You're up.
Way to make an entry.
My cakes and I had a little tumble outside. There's
Oh,
no
no.
blood involved, but.
Just don't sue us.
But they were beautiful and perfect until that, so I imagine they will still eat well.
Thank you.
And you don't have to share it with anybody.
That's right. There's barely anybody here. to share it
Carlton, you want me to save yours?
with.
Carlton's on the
We got
phone.
Carlton on the phone, so
I don't get to wrestle.
Kelly over there says she'll eat.
Kelly and Bane both.
Yeah, she's eating for two back there.
You know, you really need to put them like right in the middle of the.
I mean, she's pretty well.
Yeah.
No, it's kinda early.
I can pass, yeah. I mean, it smells so delightful, but as you heard, I had a little, jealousy on you.
Now we know why Kelly got here early.
Yeah, Kelly got here just nervous.
Okay. I'm gonna try and keep you guys quick and on schedule. And there's more that I would pass to whomever else. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah,
It's
we're
my
ready.
turn?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Um,
are early, which is good. So
Am I?
3 minutes.
Well, we can sit around and
No,
talk.
you're good. Go
I mean,
ahead.
you know, this is the
We
time
can
of year
eat.
I grow butterflies, so I would love to tell you about my butterflies. It's almost over. I only have 2 more chrysalis that will become butterflies, but it's the coolest thing ever.
Really
You need
is
to
fun
do
with
it with your
butterflies.
kids. Okay, I'm Amy Rakestraw, and I am the director at the Decatur Senior Center over on Memorial Drive. For a more immersive experience, I brought each of you a piece of Quattro Choco cake. We serve homemade love like this 4 days a week. Carlton calls my cakes bribery of a public official. I call it immersive experience. I guess it's all in the way you look at
Herman, are you okay back there?
it. Only if I give him a piece too, right?
That's right.
I would love for any of you to come and grab a carryout, or even better, come have lunch with us. Now, I must warn you that anytime a handsome younger man crosses our threshold, it creates quite a stir. Many of our ladies are longtime single and always ready to mingle. I promise, I may have to wrap you in barbed wire, but you will feel like a rock star when you leave. You can feel good about spending your lunch money at the Senior Center. Our current health rating is 95. The food is all prepared from scratch by experienced cooks and is so delicious. All the groceries are purchased locally, often from the farmer's market. A plate is only $8 and includes drink and dessert. The plate lunches are our primary source of income. Every dollar we bring in turns right back into services for older adults. We are by far the largest senior activity center in the county, with around 40 activity groups and 500 participants. This number represents people who actually come in our building. This doesn't represent all the people that buy casseroles or the people that came by to look. We have more than 500 participants that come and play games in our building. 80% of our participants are Decatur residents. I can bore you with a bunch of statistics about the correlation between staying active and staying healthy. It's a no-brainer.
I have a couple of psychology degrees, but the bottom line for mental health is if you feel like you matter to someone, if you have a purpose, and if you have something to look forward to, you feel better physically and emotionally. You stay engaged and active in the community, and you delay institutionalization such as assisted living or a nursing home. The center provides all of this to our seniors and more. Having fun is not frivolous, optional, or just for kids. It truly is a health intervention. We witnessed the physical and mental decline of many of our participants during the pandemic. Many have confided to me that depression and anxiety symptoms and even aches and pains have lessened since the center reopened. The center is where seniors truly matter. They're definitely in charge. Each of them is important to us, and we treat them with respect. We call them by name. We know their pets' names and their grandchildren's names too. We know their individual dispositions and personalities, their habits, their likes, their dislikes, mostly their dislikes. They're very vocal about their dislikes. We know them very well, so we notice when something's not quite right with them. We give them a place to belong, but we also act as a second set of eyes on the status of their well-being. I sometimes must make that difficult call to gently inform an adult child of a change in a parent's cognitive or physical abilities. We feed them a hot, healthy, homemade lunch 4 days a week. For many, this is the only true meal they eat each day. Much like the school backpack program, we began making frozen casseroles so that our folks would have affordable nutrition on the weekends. This project exploded, and it completely sustained us during the COVID shutdown. The most expensive item was $12, and we sold $57,000. $57,000 last year. This year, we've sold a little over $25,000 through July. Y'all, that's a lot of groceries and a whole lot of cooking, and I have war scars to prove it. Every dollar taken in turns into more programs for seniors. Your allocation is paramount in our ability to continue to provide services to this ever-growing population. Let me tell you why. Funding allows us to provide a greater number of free and reduced price lunches. There's an increased need for this now. In the past, we had a little more than a handful. Just this year, there's more than a dozen. We don't require any documentation, and we do this while respecting their pride, their privacy, and their dignity. I call it the Secret Sunshine Program because sometimes an anonymously given gift certificate will appear at the front desk in their name, and it's paid for, and they don't know that it's me taking senior center funds to do it. And it's just a great way to not make anybody feel put off. So we'll say, we have a Secret Sunshine gift certificate for you. We have never taken membership fees ever, and we aren't going to do that, but we also are not going to allow the inability to pay for lunch become an obstacle to participating and socializing. Nobody goes hungry, and everyone is welcomed. With city funding, we're also better able to absorb the overwhelming increase in grocery and supply prices. We can continue to provide the healthiest options possible in our meals and casseroles. It's the difference in canned green beans and a fresh salad made from produce bought at the farmer's market. It's the difference in nasty canned fruit cocktail and fresh peaches, strawberries, and grapes and seasonal fruit. It makes a big difference. Your grant also allows us to remain fully staffed. We have 5 hardworking staff members, and it takes all 5 of us to make things run smoothly. We're outnumbered 12 or 15 to 1, even on a good day, and the queen agers can be awfully needy. You like that, don't you? Queen agers. Your money gives us the ability to better care for your property. We do appreciate the use of your building, and we're excellent stewards of its care. Those 5 staff members I just mentioned, well, we're also the janitorial, maintenance, and general upkeep staff. If this were Tuesday, because we're closed on Mondays, I could easily go to from appearing in front of you to cleaning toilets or picking up glass in the parking lot. Everybody does their part, but we do a good job keeping your building clean and well kept. While y'all are together, I need to make you aware that we do not have an AED on site. And I have had to call 911 a couple of times in the past month. And the first thing the dispatcher says is, go get your AED. And I say, we don't have one. And they respond, at the senior center, you don't have one? So if this is something we could work out, that would make me happy and make me feel like they're safer. Okay. Finally, the city funding will give us the ability to explore new ways to provide support to the ever-changing needs of today's seniors. We are in the visionary stages of providing a dementia-focused respite program to assist families like mine who are struggling with this disease. I'm excited about this, but we are in the very beginning planning stages. And I apologize, I didn't know that would happen. The Decatur Senior Center is both vital and essential to this community's quality of life. Our attendance number speaks for itself and indicates that the need for our senior recreation facility is tremendous. We love them and they love this center. What we do at the center is subtle yet profound. We are excellent stewards of your building, and we are excellent stewards of your funding. Please allow us to continue serving the people who help to build this community. Thank you so much for your time.
Any questions?
Other funding sources besides the city?
United Way, and I apply for grants whenever I can find appropriate grants. During the pandemic, grants were given a lot more freely. At this time, from January to now, I have received 2, and they've been small, but it's $4,500, and that every dollar counts. And I'm awaiting hearing from 2 more. And certainly, if we're able to get this, it will essentially be a dementia daycare, but we will never call it that because that doesn't convey any dignity. But if we can get this off the ground, certainly there is grant funding available that I will pursue.
Anything else?
Thank you for your passion and what you do. You know, I love the senior
Thank
center.
you.
My grandmother was there often, and my grandfather had a special tie to that building as well. So
Yes, his picture hangs in our lobby.
Carlton, you got anything?
Kelly
Kelly
Thomas
got
ate it.
It was delicious. It's already gone.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll see if we can.
Yeah, we can work on the
AED.
Well, and we'll discuss funding, about whether we can pay part of it or if it's something we can
I
do
think
through
we-
a CDBG.
Yeah, we'll figure
We'll-
something.
I feel like you did some grants ourselves for something like that, but.
Yeah, we can work
Yeah,
on that.
we'll get with you on that.
I hope it's not one of those upside down faces, I'm sorry.
We are, look at that, we're right on time.
How about
Miss Danielle, you're up to bat. Sorry to put you behind the cake.
I feel like that happened last year.
I think it did happen last year.
I think you're always behind the cake.
made it in one piece. This morning we finished up putting up the archery stuff, so we've been out on a field for the last 8 days, hot and
Carlton's on the
sweaty.
phone too, by the way.
Hey, Carlton. Hi.
He's good.
She's gonna end up hanging up on him. Oops. All right, go ahead.
All right, I think we're ready.
All right, good deal. Well, thank you guys for letting me be here today. I'm Danielle Gibson, President and CEO of Decatur Morgan County Tourism, and we are asking for 64.3% of the 7% the city collects in lodging taxes. Can I first start with, it has really been a true honor to work alongside some of the most amazingly talented individuals I know. I've been in my current position for 4 years and 3 months, and it has been my true honor to serve this community. The support of partners and resources is invaluable. Because of that, I see such huge potential growth in all of our organizations that may be speaking with you today. I sincerely believe that with everyone pushing in the same direction and working as a team, we will see Decatur move and grow to reach its fullest potential. With that, please let me tell you how my organization is moving the needle forward. Decatur Morgan County Tourism is a nonprofit economic development agency responsible for marketing Decatur and Morgan County as a destination for conventions, tour groups, sporting events, relocation, and special events. DMCT also assists with the area industries with corporate travel needs in Decatur. DMCT staff works to stimulate the traveling public's interest in our attractions, events, festivals, recreational facilities, and tournaments. And we further attempt to develop tourism through the development and promotion of permanent attractions, food and entertainment facilities, sporting venues, and special events that bring tourists to the city. DMCT shall also encourage educational, promotional, service, civic, recreational, historical, and cultural activities that further the interest of the hospitality and convention industry in Decatur and Morgan County. So in our efforts, we work to promote a sustainable tourism plan that incorporates existing facilities and future projects to enhance community character and sense of place, making Decatur and Morgan County a special place to live and visit. We are an economic driver, community marketer, industry coordinator, and builder of community pride. In your packet, there should be included our program of work. In this program of work, you will see our sales strategy, our marketing strategy, and our experience strategy. Each strategy has the objective and the goal that will go along with it, and we continue to be very aggressive in our efforts to bring even more tourism to our community. And that also walks alongside with the One Decatur plan as well. Tourism is a vital economic driver for our county and our city. As we are looking for residential recruitment and top talent, tourism is a vital component of that process. People want places to eat and they want to shop. They want attractions and outdoor recreation, and our promotion of these vital components are essential to seeing continued growth in our community. According to the most recent economic impact analysis conducted by AUM economist Dr. Kevin Duravi for the Alabama Tourism Department, it took me 4 years to be able to say that name, travel-related expenditures in Morgan County in 2021 was up to $333 million, which is an increase of 39% from 2020, and provided Morgan County residents 3,558 jobs, which was up 40.3% from 2020. And our annual state lodging taxes collected in Morgan County in 2021 reached $1.6 million, which is also an increase of 39%. Events make a huge impact on suppliers, businesses such as photographers, printers who produce programs, catering services, and rental companies. We did just get done this morning wrapping up the 2022 JOAD USA Archery Championships, and this brought in over 800 archers from 50 states. My team pursued these events and built on the relationships our teams had established with the event organizers. I thought about coming in my getup, but don't worry. I took a shower and got back ready. With this 100-degree weather, it was pretty intense. We had nothing but positive feedback. It does take everybody working together to make these events happen. Morgan County Commission helped us. Decatur Parks and Recreation, of course, is a huge partner of ours. We provide all of these archers with resources and information to make the best possible experience while they stay here with us. So we started the 20th and we went through the 24th. I actually spoke with Judge Breland and Suzanne this morning about the train depot and the Old State Bank, and they sent a ton of archers come to visit them while they had the archers here. Just since this past year, we've hosted a very diversified set of events. These events varied from college softball, fishing, soccer, camps, and I'm hearing that we have one of the best lakes for bass fishing. I can't verify that anywhere, but that's what I'm hearing, so I think that's positive, and that was from a bass organizer. I've also included in your program of work the shows we'll be attending. We increased this travel show significantly, and these shows allow us to sell our community. So we go to a wide variety of these: sports organizers, group sales, public relations. And these opportunities allow us to meet organizers while also maintaining a positive relationship with existing organizers. The more we increase occupancy tax and lodging, the more other hotels and like begin to look at the city of Decatur. And we are here just to do, which spurs even more economic development. I'm easily distracted, so sorry.
I don't know whose phone that is. Is that John's?
I don't know what it is.
Okay,
It's over now.
go ahead.
We are also a community marketer. We've been investing in a user-generated platform to support visual content that we use for most of our print and digital advertisements, for our social posts and other collateral materials. And we also use this on our website to increase traffic as well. We created a new brand to better establish a sense of place, and we're also giving our website a little bit of a facelift so that it's a little bit more user-friendly. We bought media with places like Good Grit Magazine, Group Tour Media, Alabama Magazine, among many others, which you'll see in the program of work. We're also working with a new company called Wander Maps. I had been looking for a mapping company for probably almost 4 years. So Google Maps doesn't correctly identify some of our trails, and it's almost impossible to fix that. So with this, we'll be able to adjust the trails, and then it also will have things like where to put your kayak in, where the lodging is, where the eateries are. And so we will be able to facilitate making changes to that, making additions to that. So we'll be rolling that out probably within the next month or so, which we're very excited about. We also are an industry coordinator. We have 2 local industries who currently work on our board of directors, and we've also created a new position that solely focuses on industry and group sales. And their purpose will be to serve as the liaison between the hospitality sector and the industries. I was also able to connect 3M with the Tennessee Riverline team, and they were able to give them generous funds that helped move the needle on the Tennessee Riverline. This individual will be also in charge with building relationships with the area industries, helping with a yearly thank you and recognition of leading corporate clients, conducting FAM tours for local industry interns, conducting and plan a monthly site visit to hotels for industry appreciation, and also coordinating and conducting monthly sales blitzes with our local hoteliers. Also, with our new facility, which I'll get to in just a minute, we also have a committee that's formed that we will be utilizing that for corporate meeting space. And so that committee will be charged with helping us accurately put together what the industries and corporates need as well. And those people are actually in the industry, so they know exactly what they need. We're a builder of community pride, so most of our team is very involved in different types of organizations, whether that's civic groups, also with the Alabama Tourism Department, Alabama Mountain Lake, Sports ETA, and many of the like. Our organization continues to take the lead on the Tennessee River Towns Initiative, which is a program supported by the TVA region, along with the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. We believe this will spur more ecotourism along with the Tennessee River. There are certain guidelines that we must commit to when we're part of this program, and my organization will continue to take the lead on making sure those items are completed. We've watched that grow from kind of a tiny baby program to now it's a much larger one, and now they're about to add some people to their group as well, so they'll have a grant writer and things like that that will be a resource for us because we are part of the Tennessee Riverline program. We have also collaborated with Wheeler National Wildlife Refuge, and last September, we did a Cleanup for the Cranes event where we had over 65 people that attended that, and the City of Decatur won an award for that. It was the Exemplary River Stewardship event, and I was also proud to speak with the TVA region on how the Tennessee River Line has been such a huge resource for us as we continue to move forward. And in conjunction with that and the One Decatur plan and the efforts of keeping the city beautiful, we are continuing to partner with Leave No Trace. We felt like this was really important with the increase of outdoor activities. We also continue to work with partners that are in the room, such as Kelly with DDRA on our murals and promotion of the murals. We've rebranded to reflect the beautiful natural resources we have here in Decatur, and also with our new facility, we'll have a really nice shop that people will be able to come to and purchase swag. And then 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, my weeks are running together at this point, but we had a Tennessee River leadership workshop, so thank you, Councilman Pike, for coming to that. And then we also had a community engagement event, which was really great. We had over 70 people from the community come out and participate in that as well, just giving input on what they would like to see from the river. And one of the big things was they would like to see more programming, which I thought was kind of interesting. We're also working with Dr. John Kovach on the Singing River Trail. We worked this past year on a photo simulation with him, taking the Dr. Bill Sims Trail on what it currently is, and then what it would look like if we invested a little bit of funds into that. We're also having conversations with John Joseph on how we can create entrepreneur opportunities in the tourism sector as well. That's just a beginning conversation. And then lastly, we purchased a new facility that's located right next to the river, and our hopes for that is that we have a museum at the bottom portion of it. We'll be working with people like John Allison and Judge Breland and not recreating anything that we currently have, but creating something new. And then on the second floor, we will have that meeting space. And we feel like that this building can be a catalyst to the riverfront development and recreation. A large portion of our marketing goes to sales and promotion, and in order to get more visitors here, marketing and promotion must be a large part of that. In order for sustainable tourism and growth, the tourism office must have the funds necessary to help facilitate these new endeavors. I find it very important to give you guys detailed reporting on our efforts, and we'll continue to give you those monthly reports on our activities. And we're so thankful for your continued support and partnership.
Questions?
I'm good.
Do you know your total budget for 21? We probably have that.
Sure. It is. $1,030,000.
Okay, so what are the additional funding sources other than the lodging tax?
Just the lodging tax, and then we did get more of an appropriation from County Commission as well. So that went from 50 to 70.
So the county does 70,000.
That's correct.
And what about Hartselle Priceville do anything?
Not currently.
All right. Any other questions?
So like the county is 70 a year?
Yes. That was him. I thought it was me. Yes, that's right.
Okay, sorry, I'm having a hard time here.
Did you have any other questions, Carlton?
No.
Okay. I don't have any more.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. DeMeester, you're up.
Y'all good? Need a break? Any of that? Good?
He's the one that always needs breaks. So.
Okay. Then, without further ado, Ms. Kelly,
Thank you.
the mic is yours.
Thank you, and thank you, Carlton, for letting me eat your cake. So since 2007, DDRA has been an economic development driver for downtown Decatur. We've taken the appropriation that we receive from the city each year and we pair it with community partners, grants, in-kind sponsorships, and private donors to make big things happen downtown. When I say that, last year the city committed $84.1 to DDRA, and this is still the last year fiscal year. So in the last 6 months, we've secured over $108,000 in additional corporate partnership and project commitments to move Decatur forward and to do projects that help benefit the city our citizens' quality of life, and tourism. So nearly half of these commitments were from new partnerships. With construction and material costs nearly doubled on every single one of our projects, and I know some of y'all's projects too, we're needing additional funding now more than ever.
Too soon.
So we've got over 50 million in construction already happening downtown. That's shovel in the ground. That doesn't even include the millions more that is planned or coming down the pipeline. So with all of these projects happening, we have developers coming in, asking for different things to help enhance the city downtown and to make it more attractive for tourists and visitors so that their developments can be successful. We've also worked with our partners like the CVB. We have John Joseph from the East Center on our board, and we've also got multiple other board members who are crucial parts of downtown and the city as a whole that are helping us to shape downtown Decatur and its future. So in front of y'all, I have the 5-year strategic plan that we have our goals for, and that's through 2025. You'll notice that a lot of it is highlighted. If it's highlighted, that means it's actively in the works or the goal has already been met. So in focus area number 1, that's our improving ease of use, movement, and aesthetics of city entries and connectors. One of the goals there was to create more visible and attractive signage, making walking trails and biking trails more accessible. We're currently working on a project on Bank Street to help connect that part of downtown to the west side of downtown, which a lot of residents and visitors don't even know exists. So a lot of people, unless they're actively seeking out the train depot or Old Town Historic District or the historic McIntyre home, or even Ingalls for that matter, if they're just a pedestrian or a cyclist on Bank Street, they don't know to go that direction to find all of those things. And we have the Scioto Scottsboro Boys Museum coming over on that side of town, so we really want to find a way to direct our visitors and residents to that side of downtown Decatur. So in that project, we are doing wayfinding signage. We're also working on a possible monument sign. We've got a $30,000 commitment from another party for that signage right now. Also under focus area number 1 is to install additional landscaping and trees downtown. We've received an in-kind donation of 15 new trees for downtown and a $5,000 commitment for tree replacement and litter pickup downtown. One of the other goals on focus area number 1, which is also, you'll note, one of our top 2 priorities, is the 6th Avenue gateway into the city. Obviously, we partnered with the city to help fund that initial study for Volkert to come in, but we're still partnered with y'all to see that become a successful project to completion. We're continuing to enhance the Express Oil property with a steel pergola from Jones Park that we've relocated, and it'll be assembled there to enhance the beautification efforts on 6th Avenue. We've also received a $5,000 donation for flagstone pavers to go underneath that pergola. So that'll just be more beautification for 6th Avenue that we've received as corporate or private partnerships that the city doesn't have to pay for. Additional goals under the focus area number 1 were to add transportation. So a lot of people, when they think transportation, they think it has to be in the form of public transportation like a bus or a vehicle. We're looking at alternative transportation methods for downtown that are personal mobility options, and we've actively got some things in the works for that. Parking is another area of focus on the focus area number 1 for downtown. We've worked with the city and developers and merchants to find effective parking solutions, and as y'all know, we're actively working through potential plans for that. So our focus area number 2 is major development properties, including the downtown commons and other currently available areas. One of the goals says that we want to work with the groups that are currently investing in downtown to facilitate further growth on Bank Street and 2nd Avenue. So we're Main Street Alabama members. Our membership is $13.75 a year. We are a designated Main Street Alabama city. One of the benefits that we get from being a member of Main Street Alabama this year is a $10,000 market study that we don't have to pay for, and neither does the city, for downtown. So that's information that's going to be sent to us in October. That's when the study will be conducted, and then we'll have that information available to share with any developers that are coming into our city or that are interested in investing in downtown. Another goal for focus area number 2 is to encourage and recruit businesses and mixed-use development utilizing existing structures for upgrades and repurposes. So take advantage of the historic tax credits. DDRA has been one of the biggest champions for Caroline Slope and the city's historic preservation program. You know, what sets downtown Decatur apart from our neighboring cities is we have such a rich history, especially in historic buildings and structures. I know Councilman Ladner is especially passionate about that.
I voted against saving one. You're pressuring me here.
But
I hope I was wrong.
we think that Caroline is doing great work in our city, and she's a huge benefit for our developers that are coming in town. Since she started in 2019, she's secured over $5 million in historic tax credits. And that's huge for developers when you're talking about multi-million-dollar or even hundreds of thousands of dollar projects. So DDRA is sure to recommend her to any developers who are looking at repurposing or revitalizing historic structures. Another goal on this section is to add architectural lighting to downtown structures and bridges. So we recently received a donation of LED color changing commercial outdoor lights that we'd like to use again for that connector to Old Town and the historic district that way to try to draw visitors to that section of downtown. We're currently talking with engineering and Parks and Rec to see how we can get those put in, but that'll be on our cost. So another goal is to create outdoor and public murals and art and sculpture and interesting and inviting artistic vibes. So we've partnered with the ACA Urban Arts Committee to bring more art to downtown. We actually applied for and received a $2,500 grant and for a mural in the Johnston Street Alley project, and we're going to partner that money with a $15,000 to $20,000 commitment, just depending on what bid comes back from the actual artist from the ACA. So that'll be a mural that goes up in the alley on the old Cateco Opera House, Carriage House, Cateco Opera House. So that side of the alley project. So, and the next goal on this list is to develop the Johnston Street Alley. So for that project in particular, we've solicited $102,500 in grants and $20,000 in corporate partnerships. So that's an additional funding that the city doesn't have to pay for a downtown enhancement project that DDRA is doing on the city's behalf. The construction bids for this project are scheduled to go out by the end of the month for consideration. So we're hoping to see construction on that happen very, very soon. So focus area number 3 is my personal favorite because it's about driving mixed use and residential growth. You'll notice that that whole section is highlighted because we are seeing lots of residential growth in downtown Decatur. We set a goal of potentially 200 new residential units for the life of this 5-year plan, which again ends in 2025. We already have 147 new residential units planned for downtown Decatur. 77 of those are already under construction. That's huge. One of the goals under that was to develop student housing for the ACA, also under construction. Establish and promote residential development sites in the Bank Street area. We have 726 Bank and McGee Square both under construction on Bank Street. Develop a concept of a mixed-use parking deck. That's happening thankfully to the city's partnership. The Decatur Municipal Parking Deck with 4 retail and restaurant spaces on the corner of Moulton and First. And then the last goal on that section is to pursue the development of a top-line hotel or boutique hotel in central downtown. We have 2, the Fairfield Inn by Marriott and the McIntyre Boutique Hotel on the river. Which brings us to our last goal, which is riverfront development. Continue to develop the Rhodes Ferry Park area with an emphasis on tying into potential development below the river bridge. That's the Turtle Bridge project, and one of the beautiful things about DDRA and our partnership with the city and other different groups is that we have groups in Decatur that are already pursuing these projects that we can come alongside and help and fund and do what needs to happen to make these projects downtown a reality. So that's the Turtle Bridge Committee that y'all are familiar with. Culminate riverfront development by adding a pedestrian crossover on Highway 20 to connect the riverfront with downtown. That's already on AlDOT's to-do list. We're just waiting to hear back from them on approval. And add lighting to the structure under the bridge. That's also part of the Turtle Bridge project. So as you can see, all of the projects that we're working on in downtown, we're not just simply taking the funds that the city gives us and spending that by itself. We're actually soliciting and requesting partnerships from corporations, partnerships from private donors, grants, and in-kind work, so that not only we can do one single project, but many, many great projects that reinvest in the city and make downtown better for not only the residents, but visitors as well. So thank y'all for your time, and we
Questions?
appreciate your partnership.
Carlton, you got any questions?
No, sir, I'm good.
I was glad you mentioned the Scioto project, and you talked about Old Town a lot, but when you think about downtown, how far, I mean, obviously it goes all the way to the river, everybody thinks of this area, but, and a lot of it's in your focus here, but I would like to see, some coordination with Ms. Tate and trying to get that project going.
I've actually asked Judge Breland to invite me to the Scioto board meeting, so I'm hoping that I can be present at one of those soon.
And they do, they're pretty far down the path of getting Judge Horton's house secured to move over here too. So, no, thank you. I think that's good. Any other questions? I don't have any.
Were you asking how far downtown goes? Was that your first question?
Well, where you see it.
Okay. So for our purposes, and this is a loose circle square, we say that on the riverfront we go from Ingalls to the bridge, and then we go from the bridge to Delano, and then Delano to the farmer's market, and then farmer's market back to Ingalls.
So that project, the Scottsboro Boys Museum, would be further west than that, I guess?
No, we include Old Town as part of our downtown area because, again, that's on the way to Ingalls, so it's not exactly a square.
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Kelly.
All right. Keeping it moving. Mr. John, are you ready? I think, did you have a presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Step on, pull that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Afternoon.
How's it going?
Good to see you guys. All right. So I'm John Joseph with the East Center. Appreciate the chance to be here today. First, just want to say we appreciate your partnership. I mean, certainly funding, but just the broader partnership as well. So I want to be sure to say thank you there. Slide, please, if you don't mind. Our purpose is not just to strengthen the economy today, but to build one for tomorrow. And we have been really excited to be recognized as the top-ranked incubator in the state through Business Alabama. That's a reflection on our community as much as anything. This year, I think we're the only incubator in the state to be ranked top 3 in the 2 key metrics for incubators, which are the number of businesses that you're serving and the number that you have graduated. So we are fundamentally an incubator, but this is always our purpose. Okay, slide, thank you. In terms of serving entrepreneurs, that's our DNA. We are first and foremost an incubator, and we are changing our services. Being entrepreneurial, we have to adapt. You know, historically, we might have had around 20 clients, 25. They all sold into the city and the county. They'd come to their office 50 hours a week, and we built a culture and a service infrastructure around that. Now we have 53 clients, and we have several companies that have grown to 7 figures, and I think we'll be graduating into the community. The latest one that'll be coming into the city is AMP, Quality Energy Services, but they sell all over the country. They are
The world.
They do. That's exactly right. They sell globally. And now they parachute in for 3 hours to their office. They come in to do paperwork. They come in for a conference room. Some have adjusted a little bit for COVID, and some a little bit just the nature of the businesses. Like Garrett Contracting, this excavation company. Josh needs to be out moving dirt. He doesn't need to be in his office 50 hours a week. So just like we expect our entrepreneurs to do, we're having to change the way that we do business, and we're literally redoing our service infrastructure to follow you around as an entrepreneur instead of just being able to open a door and talk to you. Slide, please. We're also in the business, again, of just creating new revenue. And the thing to remember here, when we talk about businesses and jobs and payroll, we're having to help build those brick by brick. Like if you've ever built anything yourself, you know how hard it is to go from 0 to 1. So these are things that did not exist in the world. And our job is to help them start, scale, and be sustainable. So we're very proud of that economic impact because those businesses and those jobs over the course of where we are today, that's just our current, have been built brick by brick. And I think entrepreneurship is one of the hardest things anyone can do and one of the most rewarding. But our businesses and clients take it seriously, and of course, so do we. Next slide, please. And then here's a lifetime snapshot. We've excluded some numbers. There have been times where we have been asked, for example, to help incubate industry that was coming here, like Polyplex, or larger retail operations like the the Walmart Neighborhood Market on 6th. We don't include those in our numbers. Those are just things we have done, but they're more appropriately for somewhere else. So in the past, there was confusion about that. We just don't include those numbers. So you get a snapshot there of the lifetime numbers and the payroll. Next slide, please. Thank you. We've also been really excited about the partnerships we've built. They start locally, and you can pick literally every economic development organization here, a lot of nonprofits, and we have very substantive, innovative partnerships with them. But nationally, we've been fortunate to partner with the Columbia Business School. SBA just chose the E-Center to come celebrate Small Business Week and sent their district director and their assistant from Birmingham to be with us. Statewide, Alabama Launchpad has partnered with us and asked us again to be part of statewide efforts. And when they look to North Alabama to expand, they're really utilizing us as a point partner. And then regionally, Launch 2035, which the Chamber and the city have both supported, is an organization that fosters partnership between Madison, Morgan, and Limestone County. They have 3 focus areas. One of those is entrepreneurship. I've been asked to chair the regional entrepreneurship efforts, and so that's really given us a seat at the table as we're trying to build bridges for our businesses into that Huntsville-Madison economy, make sure we can open up that contracting world for our local businesses here in Morgan County over time. And I would just say, we don't form partnerships to put them in like a white paper at the end of the year. We do it because it can benefit the people of Morgan County. So every single one of these partnerships, I can point to how they have supported and encouraged and helped entrepreneurs. Like with SBA, for example, when all the COVID loans and grants were coming out, we had a head start on that. We had a heads up. We were able to tell our entrepreneurs how to get ready, how to get considered, how to get into that whole system quickly because of these relationships that we form. So that's why those partnerships matter. But we're more than an incubator. We do things that incubators just don't do. Our goal is to be the best incubator in the world. I just think life's short. Why should you not try to be the best at what you do? So we get into company recruitment, recruiting young professionals. We started the first program in the state where high school students from all over the city can start a business, meet entrepreneurs, meet businesses, and then actually get course credit in high school and college for doing it through our CEO program. We've given our citizens the chance to start tech companies in partnership with UAH and NASA without the R&D of creating the technology. And that's something we'll do again this year. And then when you look at key assets like the RTP, we've partnered with them to help develop their 2.0 plan, their next steps. And so it's not just about incubating businesses, it's not just about recruiting, it's about maxing the ROI of the assets that you've already invested in or annexed or both. Next slide, please. But again, our core purpose to add value is to drive new revenue. So beyond the businesses we incubate, beyond the ones we graduate, we bring our businesses to different counties and help them generate revenue through a USDA partnership. We have CEO that I just described to you. Our Best and Brightest program alone, based on the recent numbers we had, which after 7 years we're very confident in, that program alone generated around $140,000 of revenue back to the city in the form of the taxes these people pay, the purchases they make, the tags and fees. 3/4 of them are buying. So certainly that's a program we hope to continue growing. What we've seen are other cities now copying this program, starting programs. The state of Vermont called us and asked us at the East Center, how do we start this for our state? So, we obviously believe in Best and Brightest. We obviously think it's a good thing for the city and look forward to what's ahead for it. Next one. We had some pretty interesting events in 22. LeaderCast is our annual fundraiser. I've already mentioned the SBA event. We get a lot of people running for office who come visit the East Center, and so we will welcome any of them. We don't endorse candidates. We don't get into races. But any elected official or anyone running for office who supports entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, we want to be able to, educate and learn from. We also held the Singing River Trail Launch Tank, which was part of our Launch 2035 initiative. We were excited to have that event in Decatur. And I will say that recommendation didn't come from me. That came from the others we were partnered with. So we were able to bring 220 plus people to the Cook Museum, show off Entrepreneur Center, show off the city of Decatur, show off a very entrepreneurial community, show off the museum, and have a very successful event where companies competed just like you would on Shark Tank and got cash awards for money we had raised. So exciting year so far and more to come. We've also had a lot of just really exciting things happen with our clients. So Zone Protects, which sells insect repellent and a whole suite of products, was invited to a Walmart headquarters. They came away with what is called the Golden Ticket. They had orders to Walmart stores and to Sam's Club, so they got a Golden Ticket for each of those. We worked with Reggie Jackson to build an online version of the training he's always done in the community. We created a pitch deck with Reggie. He just got awarded $10,000 from a Birmingham venture capital firm as an up-and-coming company that could scale. It's basically Peloton for everyone else. Really exciting prospects ahead. Josh Garrett's super story. He's built a great company I mentioned earlier in excavation. Josh is 23. We worked with him to acquire another company. So he has now significantly grown the size of his company at 23 years old and will just be able to participate in larger and larger projects as a result. So going forward, we don't ever want to be stagnant or complacent. We want to keep pushing the envelope. So as we look ahead, we want to help develop young talent. So that means everything from getting them into the right jobs to helping them connect and make friends. It's kind of the back end of Best and Brightest, if you can think of it that way. An innovation district, we're organizing a trip to Chattanooga. Chattanooga was the first city of its size to create an innovation district, which is largely about your downtown and the signal you want to send. And so we'd like to create one or at least look at it. So we're going to go get educated on that. We've built a lot of relationships to help companies get financing, whether it's through banks, financial institutions, or investors, angel or VC. Disrupt Decatur will be about bringing together the many entrepreneurs we already have in our community. So wrapping up, we're asking for $125,000 this year for a couple of reasons. First of all, we have been able to build a recruiting partnership between the East Center, the City of Decatur, the Chamber, and EDA. It's a first of its kind partnership, and our job is to recruit smaller companies, higher wages that typically want to be in the city limits. And it took some time to get that together because until you had hired a director of development, there wasn't a person on the ground here who could play that role for the city. And so we've now built that. We're focused on the city limits, and we've generated a first site visit. We have about 40 companies in our pipeline that we would say are more than politely interested, but it's a matter of continuing that partnership. It's a matter of playing that long term. And so in 2019, we received what has been our I'll say, normal appropriation, and we funded $25,000 to do it. And then last year, we were asked to accept a $25,000 reduction in our appropriation, which we did, but we still funded this again. And so we funded it 2 years to get it off the ground in a position where it can go. But at this point, we would need that support to continue the recruitment. What I would say is, I know that anytime an organization is wanting to change appropriation, you're going to hear about that from other organizations. And I would say, put it wherever you think it makes sense. Like if there's someone else who wants to do the work and we hire a consultant and manage that role and continue this effort, house it there. It doesn't matter where it's done. It just matters that we continue to be able to recruit these companies, because we have a great pitch here for these companies. If we didn't, I wouldn't be spending time or money to cultivate them. But it's working well. But economic development is a long-term game. And whether you're recruiting a big industry or you're recruiting an 85-person tech company. So that's the main reason that we have done that. And I would just say, again, the main thing is that the effort continue. But I just want to reiterate again, you're an essential partner. We're still always trying to supplement our revenue streams. And so we apply for grants. We've engaged in conversations with the county that we haven't had before. We're looking at our first capital campaign. So we're also entrepreneurial in supporting ourselves. But the partnership here is huge, and it's enabled us to lead locally, regionally, nationally. And that doesn't ever change the fact that our goal is to drive new revenue for this city and the county. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate it.
You got anything? Go ahead. Carlton, you still there?
I'm good. Yep, I'm here. John, appreciate what you guys do. I know a lot of people, like you said, don't always see it, but the end long-term gain, I think, is going to be worth it.
Thank you.
So the city's appropriation last year was 75 and previous years have been 100.
Yes.
You get, I guess, rental income, is that what you would call people?
Yes.
Renting the space. Does that drive most of your budget, those two things?
It does. It's nearly half of our operating revenue. So if we were just an incubator, if we just wanted to be a traditional incubator, kind of a bare bones, but still traditional, we actually earn most of what we would need to do that. But to add in everything else beyond incubation, we're able to do for around $150, $160 a year, all in for everything. And so we supplement that with LeaderCast, with grant applications. As I mentioned, we're doing a capital campaign for the first time. But even then, like LeaderCast, for example, that has been a traditional fundraiser for us. We netted around 20 a year from that. The last couple of years, it's been sold. It's been, the speakers have changed, and so it has not generated the same level of demand. So instead of just sitting still and hoping that changes, I'm doing a call with EntreLeadership tomorrow, which is Dave Ramsey's, I think, competitor, essentially. So we try to be very proactive as we're building our revenue streams to make sure that we can support not just being an incubator, because we can basically do that already, which most incubators cannot, but we add in the other value, all the same goal of driving new revenue.
And your budget is some building, city and building, but some of that, and then you've got a staff of, I know some are best and brightest, but of 5 or 6?
Yes, that's
Five.
right, that's right.
And those are 5 full-time?
Yes, so we have 4 full-time and then 2 contracting.
Okay. 4 full-time.
Yeah, and so that's your office manager, your ops, myself, and then we have kind of one who plays all different roles.
Well, I think, was the East Center founded in, what, 2010?
10. Yeah.
Okay. So in 12 years, and I know there was a lot of ups and downs through trying to get that going, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
city kind of funded to begin with, and then maybe didn't, and to go from that to the #1 incubator in the state is it's great. And it, I think, goes back to Larry's leadership and then
Absolutely.
transitioning into yours. So
And
thank
this
you.
community
Yeah.
of entrepreneurs, I mean, that's the driver. We have a very entrepreneurial community, and that's a story that needs to be told about who we are, because it's who we are.
Okay, I don't have any additional questions, so thank you.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
we have anyone here from Economic Development Association?
I think they were, didn't Jeremy say they were gonna have to come back? Yeah.
Okay. We'll skip on. That saves us 10 minutes. Miss Brandy, come on up.
How are you this afternoon?
We're good. You?
Good, good. Busy week, but usually is. For those in the room who may not know, I'm the director of Morgan County EMA. I'm just going to go over a few high points on what we've been able to help the city with this year. And then if you guys have any questions, I hope not to take up my 10 minutes, but maybe I will. One of the things that we had the opportunity to do this year that we're very proud of was we helped with Decatur Police Department, and we were able to meet every single one of them, and that was fabulous. We helped in the training that they needed in meeting their accreditation requirements with CALIA. Our Decatur Fire and Rescue relationship continued with the grant management. This year we had 3 grants, which is usually only 1 or 2, but because of COVID, 1 was extended, so we ended up, we'll have the second grant closed out soon, and then we're finalizing the opening of a 3rd. So we're dealing with 3 grants for Decatur Fire this year. Spirit of America, we were supporting that in our mutual aid. We organized that mutual aid with 3 other counties, and we're able to save them about $1,600 this year, just because normally they rent light plants, and we were able to get those and exercise that mutual aid process. Worked out really well. The Jubilee, we were also able to help with the traffic and parking barriers. I don't know if you were out there this year, you noticed that those parking barriers were a little bit different. ALDOT was helped us along with county employees actually in putting those out and getting those and moving them. We did on-site support for the Jubilee and also the digital message boards for both of those events. We would like to, and we have begun the process of using our mass notification system for events with those 2 events, and we'd like to in the next year spread that use of that mass notification. It's an event specific tool that we can use for the public with each event individually. We want to try to use that more often. Of course, we maintain the response readiness for the TVA in case there was an incident. There happened to be a notice of an unusual event, which we call a NUI, this past year. It ended up being nothing, but we were glad we were ready for that in case it did expand. We also respond to hazmat incidents in the area with Decatur Fire, thankfully, and Decatur PD as well. We had a situation recently where it could have led into contamination of the water source, so we were able to have some good communications and worked with ALDOT and ADEM on that. There's a theme here. We kind of just work with everybody and help get the stuff. That's really, we're the getter of goods. I keep saying that over and over again. Okay, so we also, one of the other things Decatur specific, Point Mallard has an issue with flooding in the campground, usually before everybody else. And we've worked with the National Weather Service for the past about a year. And we finally have it in the works to change those notifications where the official notification of a flood incident would come out earlier. So we've lowered those flood stage warning and action levels. That's not written in stone just yet, just because of some of the National Weather Service timing and their schedules. We will have a meeting about that in August to make that more of a formalization. The City of Decatur residents, there's about 14,000 people who utilize the Morgan Alerts within the city. We also have managed and received the commodity flow study, which is what comes over the railroad tracks, and we've applied for a grant to rewrite the hazmat emergency response plan, including commodity studies for what comes over the roads and on the river. There will also be some training that is specifically for senior officials. There's a senior officials workshop that we're gonna host in the end of March of 2023, and everyone will be invited. So at this point, do you have any questions?
Kyle, how does this allocation work?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, I'm just curious the way it's budgeted is,
It is a little different. We're a little
Yeah.
different, and Jeannie and I, 911 director, and I have said, gosh, we just kind of don't fit in this. But we are one of those.
it's a very specific numbers, that's the reason I asked. But
Right.
Oh, I think what happened, I want to say, when we made some cuts during COVID, we used specific percentages.
Okay.
And that's how it shaked out, and I don't think we've ever, went to a whole number or whatnot.
Okay, cause yeah, and it has changed,
Yeah.
but do you have any questions? Carlton,
Are y'all looking at the 911?
yes.
Oh, you're looking at
No,
911.
I'm on the wrong,
Yeah, you're on the
35, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
the 911 number is,
That's
Because I was,
that's a 4% of.
it's based on the volume of calls, and
Right.
there's a fee per call,
I had my,
and it's a
it's the,
contract. we
you're the line
signed.
under 911,
Yeah.
so, I'm sorry. But it's a,
But in
it,
21, it was a random number, 74,277, yes.
Yeah.
So
That was 911.
no, that was,
That was
that
EMA.
was,
Yes.
that was y'all in 21.
21.
Yeah.
that was the request.
But that was your request.
Oh, the request, okay.
Yes.
Yes, and I believe we did a, per capita, I think
Okay.
is where we got that request number.
Okay,
Yeah,
did Carlton say
caught up.
anything?
I'm good.
Okay, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brandy.
One thing I did not mention, we are planning in the fall to host a come meet our crew, because a couple of ours, I know I have one person that's not met hardly anyone. So look for that in your meeting.
Yeah. Thank you.
You gentlemen still good?
Keep rocking and rolling.
All right. Next up, the colorful Miss
Well,
Judy.
we couldn't take a break before Judy.
She's gonna liven the room up.
Miss Judy, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good, thank
In case
you.
anybody does not know me, I am Judy Smith, Administrator of the Health Department.
You
And
gave her
the
two.
person whom you have, well, she's worth two. She's worth two. I'll still be talking back, so. First of all.
You gave me 0.
Do what now?
You gave me 0.
Well, squat. We're really hardworking folks. So, listen, normally when I come, I tell you that we're like your HVAC system, but I'm gonna tell you, with everything that's going on with those these days, everyone I know is not working, and you can't get the parts for it. So I choose not to use that as an analogy for the health department right now. I know it's probably you all do not very often get thank yous, but I do want to tell you how much the health department does appreciate the support that they got from the city last year. And I'll be very frank with you, and I think you all already know this, we would never have made it without you. The appropriation that you normally give us and that we predominantly use for uncovered services, uncompensated patients, environmental health services, and those kind of things, we used for a lot more these past 2 years. It has just been tremendous. I will tell you that we did get free vaccine and we did get free syringes from the federal government. The problem is we did not get nurses to give those shots, and so part of your appropriation helped to make sure that we could put shots in arms to try to take care of this community. I do want you to know that together we gave roughly 25,000 vaccines since the vaccine was available 18 months ago. So together I think we've done great. The testing has been about the same. Again, we got testing kits. We did not get nurses to do the testing. I will tell you that when I left the health department a while ago, they were working on, I say right at lunch, they were working on number 30 today, so the testing is back up. Unfortunately, we would like to give 25,000 more COVID vaccines. I want to thank you for the forum that you did, the public press conferences that we did weekly for a while. We needed a forum to get the information, whether people liked it or whether they didn't. We needed a forum to get that information out to to this community, and you all did a great job. You also made me famous. People recognize me everywhere I go, not always for the right reasons. So, but at any rate, I do want to thank you, and I will tell you that your appropriation will continue to be used wisely, and it will be, it is going to be critical to our continued success. Now, where do we go from here? As you all know, we still have COVID, and COVID has already gone back up. We are still, you are one of the few communities that we continue to do testing and vaccination. We've made that available to your community 5 days a week. We have somebody designated so that if somebody in this community needs services, you know, then certainly we can give it. So we're going to continue that war. I will tell you that, as you all probably know, your positivity rate is back up to almost 30%, and kind of like the state is. We also now are dealing with monkeypox, and if I had the opportunity... Yep.
What, Carlton?
I had no question.
He did not know we were at 30%.
Well, you're actually you're right at 25%. The state you actually went up in the past couple of days. The state went down a little bit to 28.8%. And I will tell you that this year, and I know y'all wish I'd talk about something besides COVID. I wish I'd talk about something besides COVID. Well, I was going to monkeypox, but I'm back to COVID now because he asked a question. I do want to tell you that we this year have had 86 deaths in this community. Now, all told, since the beginning of this, we've recorded 519 deaths. And I know there's a lot of, you know, people's opinions about those deaths, but you know, if pneumonia pushes you over the edge, and pneumonia is the cause, if COVID pushes you over the edge, then COVID is still the cause. So at any rate, we're also now dealing with monkeypox, and we have done some testing. Fortunately, we have not had a case at this point. We hope that we don't. But nonetheless, we're out there doing all that good stuff for you, because there is no money hooked to monkeypox at this point. Now, when there is, we will get some. So we're also dealing, I will tell you very tragically, the aftermath, as you all are too, with much of the COVID stuff. We have seen a lot of vaccination rates go down. We're very concerned about it. You all know that there's a polio case in New York. I will tell you, in an adjacent county, we have an outbreak of chickenpox, and while most of us are old enough that we didn't see that as a big deal, I can tell you it can be a very big deal in terms of measles, encephalitis, and a lot of other things. But there's a real concern with the anti-vax thing, that situation, that we're going to begin to see a lot more of that stuff. So once again, your HVA system is looking for parts to take care of it. So a couple of other things that we're going to be doing this next year, and we'll be using your appropriations to support. We are, first of all, Alabama is #1 in the nation for cervical cancer. We are revamping our family planning and Alabama breast and cervical cancer programs so that no woman that does not have a resource will be denied the right to have a pap smear in this county. We are also, in response to the changes in Roe versus Wade, we are going to expand the availability of a nurse practitioner in this county so that family planning services will be available 5 days a week. You know, we strongly believe that prevention is the answer. It's not, intervention should not be a situation. I gave you all a little deal that's on the health situation of Morgan County, and if you will look there, I highlighted a couple of things on there, and I will tell you that's an older one. The 20s fixing to come out, all that got stalled too. But when 90% of your young people are unmarried, when 40-something%, almost 50% of your total population of women in a county are unmarried, it speaks to the impact. It's not just a family situation, it speaks to the impact to the economy of this community, to the workforce in the future of this community, and those sort of things. So again, we strongly believe that prevention is the key, and so what we'd like to do is be on the front end. We don't think abortion should ever be, that's the aftermath and the issue. We would like to see prevention, and we're going to do everything we can to make that available. We will continue to do all the things that you all have charged us with doing and that we need to do. You all have about 700 food establishments in this county, and last year they in the last 12 months, not last year, we did over 2,000 inspections, and there were at least 500 re-inspections because of food violations that were there. So we're trying to keep you safe on that arena too. By the way, in your little kits, I will not say, well, I'm not gonna talk about seafood places nor about masks, because I'll leave that to the governor, and I'm not gonna talk about those that are in your little kit. But at any rate, so we will continue to be doing that. I do want you to know a few things, other things that we have going. We will be using our COVID money to do a drive around. Really, it's gonna end up being a loop around at the health department. So we will, in the future, for whether it's flu or COVID or whatever, we will, hopefully will have clinics where people can just drive around, get what they need, and leave. Maybe Chick-fil-A will come give out sandwiches, I don't know. Listen, I will also tell you that, and you're not really gonna fund this, but I think it's very important. We also are going to have access to maternal child health money, that we have a contract with both Calhoun College and Wallace College in Hanceville, where women who come through our WIC program will be able to get dental care, prenatal dental care, and care for their children. So I think that's a wonderful asset for that community, for this community, that people will not be able to get in other, potentially in other places. We do plan to put generators at the health department. We cannot afford for that vaccine. You know, we're tired of having to run it to your house every time the electricity goes off, and so we will be putting the generator in. We're also adding some additional security doors to the health department, just because we do currently have, the vaccine is so expensive and so many of the things that we have. So again, all that said, I thank you for your support. I ask you for your continued support. I do want you to give EMA some money. They have been tremendous partners this year, but don't give them my money. So just give them whatever. EMA already gone, she doesn't even care. So anyways, never mind, in that case, don't give her any money. So I was trying to be nice. So we have had wonderful partnerships in this community, and I will tell you that despite everything, I think together we've made this community look good. So again, I thank you so very much. Any questions?
Any questions?
I'm good, Judy, thank you.
Carlson, any questions?
I'm good, thank you.
He said just let her go home. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Oh, darn.
I'm just curious on this, it's not anything about the allocation, but I think I saw where, 45% had a COVID vaccine. Is that accurate in Morgan County?
Well, it sort of depends on who you ask and who does the reporting. We still have people that don't report, so I honestly don't know.
Well, I'm talking about who's had the vaccine.
I know,
Okay.
I know.
Who's
So
not
who knows? Who knows? So I will tell you this, though. The health department now does have all the vaccines. We used to have it kind of split up, and now we have all the Pfizer, so all of the age groups are covered. Again, I will respond to that by saying that now that we have the vaccine for the younger age group and the preschool age group, we have not seen a stampede of people coming to get it. So it's a little concerning in terms of the anti-vax situation. So we'll continue to do what you want us to do, okay? So you want to ask another question, because I give long answers.
Thank you, Judy.
All right, you're very welcome, sir.
All right. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Mr. Dania, you're up, sir.
Thank you, Council, for having us here. Danny Kelso, I'm Chief of the Rescue Squad here in Morgan County. Again, every year, I'm gonna cut it short and sweet for y'all as well. You know what we do. We assist everybody on the water. We partner with all the agencies that probably come up here and ask for more money as well. We just asked every year that if we could try to match the county's appropriation, which is 22.5. We definitely, with the cost of everything going up, with gas, training, everything that we do, the budget that we do get now, we're penny pinching, and the county's not increased their budget. The city, obviously, we're maintaining both budgets at the same. So, as far as fundraising, grant writing, we apply every year for grants. It's a gamble whether you get any. So we, usually get at least 1 or 2 grants. They're very small grants. Usually they're towards an item that we've requested for a piece of equipment or something like that. But just to give you some numbers, if you wanted for this year, and we're still obviously in this year, we've had 72 calls 911 calls have came into the county. 36 of those calls have been in the city limits of Decatur. The man hours of those calls have averaged 1,446 man hours on those calls. Last year, we had requested, when the rescue squad was founded in the 1960s, you know, they've had the building there in Flint by the training center, and it's obviously fallen apart. We've outgrown that. You know, we still maintain an average of 40 volunteers throughout the county. Most of the volunteers, though, are city residents. With help with Senator Orr and the county commission, they purchased us 3 acres right by the training center there on Mill Road, basically across the street from the old property from the city park. So our goal now is obviously to build a new station.
Across from the park, is that what you said?
The old Flint City
I just
Park.
wanted Mr. McMasters to hear
Oh,
that.
yes, yes.
Thank
So,
Convenient.
so, it's a total of 3 acres, and, you know, we've tried to design a building. It's about 120 by 80 building. We're still in process of getting real cost numbers, but just a ballpark range, what we've got so far is close to $1.2 million, and that is, honestly, it's just a generic building. It's nothing nice. It's nothing, I mean, but we don't have that money to fund that, because again, our 3 main sources, if you see at our budget request, is always the county commission and the city of Decatur are our top 2 budget people. So if we lose any funding in that area, we've got to go back and figure out how to make up that loss of money. So this year we partnered with the Mountains and Valleys. This is something new, and the Visitors Bureau has been advertising. We've partnered with them with canoe and kayak rentals, and that has been a pretty much success on the weekends. We're getting a lot of phone calls. We created a Facebook page, getting a lot of phone calls. We've gave the volunteer hours. Again, no one gets paid a dime. It's been 89 hours on the waterways thus far, and only creating right at close to $500 in fundraising, and that's going to into our general fund to maintain this year's budget. So that's pretty much the gist of everything. Is we're just asking again if we could just get there to help fund the rescue squad and help us eventually, you know, because again, we've got to figure out a way how to get a new station now that we've got the property. Is there any questions that y'all may have for us?
Any questions, Carlton?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good.
All right.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank y'all.
NARCOG. Oh, there you are. NARCOG. I was looking for, I saw the name, so. Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had prepared a presentation, didn't realize Friday was the deadline, but, so now I have a printed copy instead of digital copy. So I'm Falguni Patel, I'm Director of Transportation. With NARCOG, I have a little presentation I was gonna go over with you guys. So first of all, who we are as NARCOG. We are a regional council in North Alabama. We are one of the 12 regional councils in the state. We cover Cullman, Lawrence, and Morgan County. Basically, we are an extension of the local governments, all the local governments within this 3-county region, including the city of Decatur. So by definition, we're an extension of the city. We have 3 major areas that we work on. Area Agency on Aging, all the programs that cover senior services. Then we have community and economic development programs. Basically, we help cities, communities, and local businesses with economic development. And the third program, which is what my program is, Regional Transit Agency. Currently, we cover 2 counties, Morgan and Lawrence County. Next 2 slides are kind of just the statistics of the impact that transit plays on rural and small towns. They're from APTA, American Public Transportation Association. They put out all the different, studies and statistics and stuff like that. The first slide, I just wanted to kind of highlight that multiplier that I have boxed around. Every dollar that we spend on transit multiplied by 3.55 is how much it's our economic impact on the region or the city that we serve on. That number is really high in urban areas, but for rural and smaller areas, since we don't have that density, it's 3.55, but if you go urban areas, large metros, the number goes from 8 or 9. But we need the density to kind of have that impact. Ours is 3.55. That's a national average for rural and small towns. The next slide is just inequality between the urban areas and rural areas. Rural areas are, by definition and by statistic, if you look at the numbers, the average income is lower than the urban areas. Our poverty rate is higher than the urban areas, and the healthcare costs are higher than the urban areas. So when you look at overall, not just economic impact, but social impact, transit plays a really big role in that, because transit is something that provides access to so many people that sometimes we don't realize. Those numbers, I'll come up with those. I'll show you our numbers here, and instead of showing the national numbers. The next 2 slides are the riderships. The one on the top is our ridership from 2017 to 2021. You'll see that on 2020 and 2021, mainly 2020, our ridership was way down. Part of the reason is COVID. We were doing 1 person per trip, so basically to avoid people to, so many people ride transit to go to their dialysis treatment or doctor's office, things like that, and they're afraid that they're going to catch something on the transit. So we were doing 1 person per bus, or per trip at a time. So our ridership was really down in 2020. On 21, it was up, and in 2021, we're kind of going back up. And we won't be 2019 numbers, but we'll close to 2018 numbers this year. If you look at the riders who use how many times a month or a week, urban riders use our transit, about 50% of those riders use our transit regularly. So when I say regularly, they use it more than once a month, pretty much. There are those that use pretty much every single day. There are those that go to dialysis treatment and use it 3 times a day. But we have a lot of people that use transit regularly. The next, on the number 7 slide, those are the trip types. So it was kind of eye-opening for me, because I always thought, and that's the perception people have, is most people that use transit use it either for senior center related or senior activities or medical treatment, or those are medical trips. When you look at our numbers from last 2 months, all the urban trips, pretty much 1/3 of all the urban trips was job related, employment. So people are using transit to go to work. These people are working in regional, local businesses, restaurants, grocery stores. We have some that go to work at the jail or plants, different plants, manufacturing plants here in town. We have some that go to hospital. So we have a lot of people that use our transit to go to work. Looking at all the transit system in Alabama, if you look at the numbers, the average number, the expenses, operating expenses per vehicle revenue hour, which is kind of our benchmark to see how we're doing number-wise, physically. we are below average, so we spend less money per person or per hour than other transit agencies in the state. Passenger trips, again, we're below operating expenses per trip are below average, so we spend less money per trip in the state than other agencies. Our trip numbers per revenue hours are higher than the average, so we spend more, we provide more trips per hour than other agencies in the state. And our average trip numbers are higher than the other agencies too, just to kind of give a snapshot of where other transit agencies stand and where we stand compared to them. And these are just all the transit agencies in the state. Next is the proposed budget. We have a full budget that we had submitted with everything else, but this is just a snapshot of what our total budget is going to be. It's going to be what we're projecting it to be is $746,400. And we're asking for city to match that appropriation is $300,000. We've been receiving $135 for past few years, but what we're projecting is we're not going to have the funding from the counties to support, and we're not going to provide transit. I mean, we're going to focus, moving forward, we're trying to focus more on urban area because that's where the most need is. All the transit trips that we provide, 95% of the trips are within the city of Decatur, between those two counties. So moving forward, we're going to focus on urban area than, being the other two rural counties. From October 1st this year, we're going to be direct recipient of the FTA funds for urban area. That includes, Decatur, basically for the Decatur urban area. So we'll be focusing our efforts more on the city than the rural areas are surrounding us. And other thing we're working on right now is we took over transit from both counties, Morgan County and Lawrence County, in 2016. We combined two transit agencies and created one agency out of it. And our budget at the time was about $3.5 million. We've streamlined it to really go down. In past few years, it's been somewhere between 1.3, 1.4. But moving forward, we're just going to focus more on urban area, and we wanted to see, because we're a direct recipient of FTA funds for the urban areas, we want to see how we can improve our service, what we can do. Our budget is, that's the max we can right now get, because every dollar we get in our appropriation from local cities, we can only draw down 1.88, 1.87, something like that. So federal fund is there, but we have to match it with local funds for us to get that funding. So we're kind of working on a 5-year study, 5-year plan right now that will allow us to see how we can change our service, how we can streamline even more, and what we can do. Right now, we're a demand response service, but is feasible for us to go fixed route? The services you see in big cities where, you have bus stops and you just come to the bus stop instead of bus coming to you at your house. We're kind of studying that right now. We're working with a consultant to see what can be do that'll improve the service and can serve more people. So that's pretty much it for right now. We really appreciate all your support. And if you have any question, I can answer that right now.
So, did I understand correctly that the county is no longer going to provide any funding at all? None?
No, most of the county service we do are connected to the senior centers. So they are gonna handle their own service. So basically that's how they had before, buses. Every senior center might have a bus that they can use. Right now, as it is with FTA funding, there is a restriction of how you can serve people. It has to be open to everybody. And counties are proposing that because they can do more with senior center if they're doing their own. So instead of providing funding to us, they'll kind of take over that part.
So NARCOG will not be providing any transit at all outside of the city?
Yes.
Okay. Carlton, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's where I was going.
How long to go to fixed route? Do you think that'll take 5 years, or you think?
Well, that's what we needed the study to figure out. You know, we want to go fast, a fixed route, but with the density we have, the geography of the city, what can we do? What can we do to get to that point? You know, how fast can we get there? Or what are the resources we'll need? You know, when you have fixed route, there is bus stops, all of the first, you know, infrastructure you have to have in place before you can, you know, go to fixed route. So we are moving in that direction, but that study will let us know how fast we can and what can we fully go that route, or we'll have to have a model that's, you know, kind of.
Well, you can start with one fixed route and add to it.
Yes. So that's what we had a few years ago before COVID, tried or tested a route in downtown. That didn't work too much, but then we know there are pockets of destinations where we serve regularly. So that's what this study will kind of look at. You know, they'll do a destination analysis to see where are the pockets, where can we do, what are the clusters, you know, where they are. We have an idea, but, you know, they'll run their models and kind of let us know that where you can start, you know, or we might have to do a modification to a plan, but that's what we're looking at right now.
Good.
I don't have any other questions.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right, Miss Mary.
Carlton's on the phone. So
Okay,
don't
so we
talk
got
bad
Carlton
about
on the
Don't say anything
phone.
bad about him yet.
I will not say a bad word at all. Hi, Carlton. I'm doing good today. So we don't have Hunter or Tab or Billy. Okay.
Just Carlton on the phone.
Okay, all right. Well, guys, I am Mary McDonald, as you know, with the Princess Theater, right down the street with the marquee that lights up brightly. 264 days last year. We were shut down for 14 for ADA construction, so that took a little bit of time away from us being able to program during those days. Last year we had over 46,000 people come to the theater. 31% of those are from Decatur, 18% from out of state, and 51% from other cities in Alabama. We had 189 cities represented out of Alabama. That's, I think there's like 549 or something like that. So that's a pretty good representation of people coming to see events at the theater. You know, we are asking for 120,000. It's more than what we've asked for before, but this is the time where we're trying to grow. We are doing a great job in sustaining programming for concerts that are bringing people into town, but operational costs are, with the more events we have, the operational costs go up, and that because that money is dedicated to music, we still have that balance. We've got to strike between being able to operate and bring these people to town and still be able to maintain the inside of the building. I have raised over $45,000 this year to do things to improve the building. Next week I get a $30,000 light job on the theater where we are transforming all of our lights from whatever they are now, fluorescents, to LEDs. So that's going to reduce the energy costs in the building, as well as add to the building's value and equity into the building. Another thing we did last year was to continue to work on all the windows that have been falling out of the building to restore them. We're still in the middle of that process. Our vendor had another project they had to complete, and so they'll be back. They had to order the parts to put basically storm windows. They're plexiglass that was approved by the Alabama Historical Commission, which will allow us to seal off the windows so that they won't further rot and decay, which is great. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is where we lack is the operational expenditures. And so that's what we're asking the city to help us with. Our programming, like I said, is becoming more and more sustainable. It's on its own, but that's not what keeps the building operating. That's what keeps us the ability to have people in the building, but it's not what's really allowing us to operate. As far as utilities are concerned, we're running, we've got 10 units on top of our building for our AC. We've got 8 that work, that are trying to cool the whole house of the theater. So we've been asked to keep that steady. Now I've reduced our utility costs significantly over the last 2 years, but now I've just written an $8,000 check, wrote another $8,000 check in the end of June, and now we're coming up on July. With the way we've been utilizing the building, it's probably going to be upward of $12,000 for
That's
utilities.
For utilities?
Yes. So, anyways, that's kind of our situation.
May need to work on those 2 units, huh?
Right, yeah, and they've come out, and facilities, Kurt has been helping us with that. They come out, they tell us it works, and then it doesn't work. Not facilities, but the people they bring in. Kurt has initiated to change the sensors on it, but the recommendation was that I keep that on constantly, even if we're not using the building. Which before, we would keep it steady, but it's 27,000 square feet. So to heat and cool that with all the cracks and the holes in the building and the walls, that gets expensive because it's trying to heat the streets. I mean, we've had this conversation year after year. As I was telling Carlton a few weeks ago, this grant that I got for the LED lighting in the windows, I can get this grant. It's a $30,000 grant every year with a $15,000 match, but you have to use the money before you can apply for it again. So that's something that also can help to contribute to other energy efficiencies in the building, whether that be the 2 new units or whatever. I've not priced them because that's kind of y'all's business, but once I completely spend that money on these lights and stuff, then I can go apply for that again. I've gotten a good relationship with it's called South Face, and it's a good use grant to help with energy efficiency. So there are things that I can do from the perspective of helping improve the building, but I can't get those kind of grants for operational cost.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're really on a trajectory for growth, and we're trying to find different ways. We've diversified our programming. We've brought in national touring acts, Grammy Award winners. We're doing a lot with the community, trying to improve that economic impact indicator. So we hope that you guys will stay with us and continue to support us in what we're doing. Questions?
We'll have a good hotel for you right down the road.
I'm sorry?
Just phenomenal. Your team's done a great job with that.
Well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to the hotel, because that means I don't have to run the artist back and forth to the DoubleTree.
That is good.
Or go get the bus driver at 12:30 a.m., which is what I usually have to do.
You got anything?
No questions. Thank you. You're doing a great job. I know even people out in the community are thrilled about what's happening at the Princess. I love to see the marquee light on. I'm like, if we could get about 100 more days, we'd be doing just right.
Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah. Okay, we're gonna need more people than just me.
You were at 264.
The other day I was, Erica said something, my wife said something about, I love Mary. I said, I love Mary too. And she said, I bet there's nobody that doesn't like Mary. So you need
Well,
to
you're
stick
probably
with
wrong
that.
on that. Let's not poll. I mean, I know I'm live here. They're probably, that guy back there, the IT guy, he's not a big fan of me.
Come on, Lamar. I don't have
But
anything.
anyways, I've enjoyed my time in Decatur, and the people in the community are fantastic. We've got a lot of great supporters, and we appreciate y'all for what y'all do.
Thanks, Mary.
You're
We
welcome.
need to figure out something on the air conditioner too.
Yeah, we'll get on that.
We'll get to looking at that.
Either that or everybody's gonna be naked.
I don't think we need that.
Some way to sell out a theater.
Tourism draw. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Fox with Prior Field.
Thank you all so much for having me out today to discuss the airport, Pryorfield Regional Airport. It is exciting times. I sit there in the crowd listening to everything that's going on in the city of Decatur, Morgan County, and the Tennessee Valley as a whole. We are definitely on a trajectory for growth, and that's no different for the airport. Today I have with me the chairman of the Airport Authority. You know, the Airport Authority was established in 1978. You know, we're co-owned by you all, the city of Athens, Morgan County, and Limestone County. Today I'm here to present on behalf of the board for appropriation request of $250,000. On the next slide, we'll have some fast facts for the airport. Our runway is most definitely a jet-capable runway. We've got 6,107 feet by 100 feet wide runway. It is an asphalt runway where we can take in excess of 150,000-pound jet. We have a state-of-the-art terminal building that you see pictured there. This was constructed in 2008. It's 7,200 square feet of terminal space. This is probably one of the nicest terminal buildings in North Alabama. I'm a little biased when I say that, but I truly do mean it is a wonderful facility, and it does serve the front door capacity of the city of Decatur. We have over 150 operations annually. This is number one as far as general aviation airports in the state of Alabama. The Alabama airport system, there are currently 80 airports in that system. We compete with basically the two other airports for top 3 slots on different numbers throughout the years. We're constantly bouncing back and forth from 1 to 3 depending on how we look at it. Another number one is our based aircraft. What you see there's 141 base aircraft. We have 122 single-engine aircraft, 11 multi-engine, 2 jets, 4 helicopters. Of the 4 helicopters, 2 of them are in the public sector with Limestone County Sheriff Department, and then of course our newly beautiful red, white, and blue air evac helicopter that you've probably seen saving lives throughout the Tennessee Valley. We have 1 glider, and we have a wait list. This is the most important thing. We have a wait list of 91. That is 91 additional aircraft that are looking to move to our airport. This is out of state, this is in state, and this could very well be something that we could have interest in some overnights from even some out of the country. Next slide, you'll see a slide of a Boeing 727. Obviously, if you read the Decatur Daily, a couple weeks ago we had that article on the front page. This is a significant aircraft, as this is the largest aircraft to have ever landed at Pryorfield. Just to put it in perspective, there's only 5 airports, based on my little bit of research, there's only 5 airports in the state of Alabama out of the 80 that has ever had a jet of that capacity land there. Now that is the commercial service airports. Most of them are the only ones that's ever seen an aircraft that size. General aviation, I believe that we are the only one that has seen a significant aircraft of that size. Our increased operations, obviously every year, every month even, we're seeing increased operations. Our freight operations are no different. We have a third-party logistics company that are serving great, wonderful companies that employ thousands, not only in Decatur, but the surrounding area and the Tennessee Valley as a whole. We play a vital role in the logistics portion of that. Obviously, you know, we have a hand in dealing with getting the packages, getting the freight, getting whatever it is to the customer so they can create the product and employ those thousands of people that you all have in your jurisdiction. There's numerous companies that we work with. The majority of them are right here in your front door. The next slide, you'll see the 2020-2021 in review. I'll go through this rather quickly. Taxiway pavement rehabilitation. This is about a $450,000 project that we completed in FY 2021. We have recently completed new LED lighting on all airport buildings to include our community hangar. Inside the community hangar, lighted up to LEDs. Of course, that helps with some of our operational expenses. The runway rehab in FY 19 and 20 is when the project was completed. That's a significant project, but all these rehab projects slows down the oxidation process. In other words, it makes it cheaper for us to continue operating, continue serving the citizens of Decatur. We also completed a parking lot LED lighting project. If you go down 31 at night, you can see the terminal building now. It is beautiful. Again, you know, it's that front door piece. It's the first thing that all the corporate folks that travel through our airport see. So it's very important that we light that up, that we make it presentable so that we can better serve you all. We also, again, we're at 100% hangar capacity with 91 aircraft currently on the wait list. Now, the 91 aircraft that we currently have on the wait list, these are just people that have, contacted us that wanted to base their aircraft here. This is multiple different kind of aircraft, all the way up to a tri-jet Falcon 50, all the way down to your general aviation two-place airplane, right? So we have a wide variety of folks looking to come in and bring their businesses, expand their businesses, and expand their fleet to our airport. We have, each year we complete and add to a 5-year capital improvement plan. We call this our ACIP. Each year we kind of add to, there's obviously different aspects that go into this. We have to deal with the FAA at the Airport District's office in Jackson, Mississippi, and we have to deal with the state of Alabama to implement and plan in these projects. So it's a phase that usually we have to plan several years in advance, usually 5 years for some of these projects. On the next slide, you can see just a snapshot of what it means to preserve and kick the can down the road, if you will, for our runway. You know, in the business, we say that a mile of road will take you a mile of runway will take you anywhere. Well, we have more than a mile, so. Also, on the next slide, you can see our operations, a little snapshot of some of our business jets that travel in. This is a typical day at Pryor Field. Our transient apron there in front of our terminal building is full at least 3 out of the 5 days of the week, and then of course on the weekends we're just as busy as well. You know, we joke all the time that we're not just a national airport in the Alabama airport system, but we're international. For instance, the Boeing 727 I showed you earlier, that come from Mexico. So we have aircraft coming down from Canada and aircraft coming in from Mexico all the time, but they have to transport through a entry point, like for instance, Laredo, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and some of these others because of that custom aspect that we are missing, but we are currently working to hopefully strike a partnership with them. In 2020, we had, based on the Alabama Department of Transportation's Economic Impact Study, we had nearly 10,000 passengers come through our terminal building. Let me tell you, each month we transpire and add to the building blocks of our infrastructure and our airport. We add to our numbers, our operating expenses continue to rise because our operations continue to rise. You know, the lights have to be open or on throughout the night more. We have to staff more to satisfy those operations. For instance, that Boeing 727, such a popular aircraft, you know, it gets all of us excited. That's the reason I keep referencing it. But, you know, those operations span between 11 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So most of the time, you all don't get to see it because it's flying over your house, making a bunch of noise, probably waking you up in the middle of the night. But that's a good thing, right? Our next slide, just continuing, I love this jet. This is one of the Gulfstream's largest business jets. This is owned by a company that is right down the road here in Decatur. So that's important to know that. And plus, that's a beautiful picture. Beautiful sunset over the Tennessee Valley there. The next slide, you can see a little bit of our forecasted projects. Again, I'll run through these rather quickly. Taxi lane rehab, we currently have a notice to proceed from the state on a 75-25 grant to continue with the longevity and the life of our pavement. This is an FY22 project, so in other words, it's going to be completed here in the next couple months. This is a $125,000 project. We are currently 50% of our master plan project. Now, this is a strategic guiding document that's going to help you know, us navigate the 5-year ACIP that I mentioned. This will also help us navigate some of our funding streams with the state of Alabama and the FAA. This document will also help us strategically develop and grow our airport to where it needs to be. Our airport has served in many different roles over the life cycle of the authority being established. The last 3 years has been a very pivoting point as we've taken over our fixed base operator, which is what we call our FBO. So the authority, every time a jet lands, an aircraft lands at the airport, we control the customer experience. And the reason why I even mention that is because it is important that we serve as that front door capacity. We serve as the stewards of the businesses that could very well relocate here. Executives don't drive, they fly. The next possible projected project that we have is our North Development acreage. We're currently undergoing an environmental study, and we'll break off in the fall on a design project as well. This is a very important project as it's going to open up the airport so that we can have what we call red dirt ready areas for development. So in other words, if a corporation wanted to come to us today and build, we'd have a hard time picking out that location for them to actually strike up and start building that infrastructure. So that's a very important project for us. That's estimated about $3.1 million project. We have a possible hangar construction project. Again, you know, I can't help but reiterate that 91 aircraft that want to move to Pryor Field. That could very well be folks looking to move here on a business standpoint, bringing employees, bringing you know, people in your neighborhoods, bringing a lot of job opportunities. With that, you know, obviously we need hangar space. So we are currently looking at up to a $3 million hangar facility. Again, that coincides with our master plan and placement. We also have another project that we're looking at that ties directly to, the next two actually tie directly to creating jobs out at the airport. The board has graciously approved to develop 85 acres that we have on the airport. This is 85 acres that the Airport Authority and you all, as City of Decatur, have owned for years. This is a very pivoting role or point in the airport's life cycle, as this will obviously bring about jobs and future growth. The Southeast Development Water and Sewer Project will be the first one. This is estimated about a $2.4 million project. The next would be a Southeast Taxi Lane. Obviously, we have to have direct access to the runway for that future growth and those jobs, because aircraft, obviously, we have some that can hover, but most of them are going to be on pavement taxiing through. So we're going to have to do that project as well. Based on some of our quotes that we're looking at with the North Development Taxiway, we're estimate that to be about a $2.3 million project. Now, going back to the 85 acres, it is noteworthy that we are in communication with 3 entities on that, 2 being aeronautical, 1 being non-aeronautical, and the possibility of creating 600 jobs at the airport. The next slide is a draft, a big shot overview, 10,000-foot view of some of the development that we have. If you look at the top right-hand portion of the airport, you can see the 85 acres, what I call basically the start of the neighborhood, with the green being the facilities that could possibly be built there. If you'll see over on the bottom left-hand portion, that would be the North Development acreage that I mentioned. And of course, this is a draft working copy of that master plan document that will be that strategic shield when we start going through our planning and development phases. The next slide, you can see a little closer snapshot of that North Development acreage. You can see there with a red roof on the middle of the page on the left-hand side. That is our state-of-the-art 7,200 square foot terminal building, our transient apron there, and then of course we have one privately owned facility that's got the white top there in the middle of the page. You can see some hangar facilities just being drawn as placeholders on there. Obviously these facilities, just to kind of help paint a picture of the footprint, these are 125 by 125 box hangars that are displayed there. So this is a significant project. This will also help us divide our operations. Again, you heard me mention earlier that on any given day, we are at max capacity on that transient apron, that apron there in front of our terminal building, which, by the way, that's a 640 feet by 245 feet apron. So the apron that we were proposed to build this spring will definitely be about the same size, and this will be so that we can put some of our larger transient cargo and commercial aviation over in that facility or that area. The next slide shows a little snapshot of the economic impact study. If you all desire, I can email and send out the full executive summary of this. But our economic impact from 2020, again, we have every single day, every single month, we have increased our operations and we have increased our economic impact. But in 2020, the studied amount was $14.8 million of economic impact. So if you'll look there in 2000, we had an economic impact of 3.5 million, so we have grown significantly, and I believe that our numbers are probably up several million from 2020 just because of our taking over of our fixed base operator FBO. In 2020, it was also estimated that we had $815,800 impact in local taxes. That's the taxes that are coming through the airport. That's what's going out into our community. Our next slide is just a very, and I have left out so many of our corporate partners that use our facility. This is just a very quick snapshot of some of those that we have coming in and out. Obviously, you know, we have a lot more, a lot closer to home. For instance, Carpenter, Toyota, Mazda, and then several others in the Tennessee Valley that use us as well. The next slide, I just wanted to throw some pictures up there. Again, I know that there's a lot of folks that have not been out to the airport. I hope to change that. In my role as airport director, I have taken it my personal responsibility to get more involved in the community. You know, we try to work with the Department of Commerce and several others, Rotary Club, to basically spread awareness of our facilities, but then also give back to our communities, get involved, spread that awareness. Again, you know, through that, you know, I wanted you to see a visual representation of what the passengers, again, it's nearly 10,000 passengers that come through our terminal building. We do not have commercial service aspect. So again, some of the folks that may be listening or in the crowd today, we don't have a Delta, we don't have a American Airlines, but what we do have, and this is what the pandemic really brought forward, is corporate aviation. So in other words, the businesses, like for instance, some of those very large jets that I showed you pictures of, those could be chartered jets or those could be owned jets by corporations here in Decatur in the Tennessee Valley. So we have numerous folks that since the pandemic, they decided that it's a whole lot easier to go to Pryor Field because they live in Decatur versus having to go through American Airlines gate at Huntsville. So it's a whole lot easier to get to these smaller rural airports through a charter operation, and that's the capacity that we serve as a national airport in the Alabama Airport System Plan. The last slide here is just another photo of kind of what we do. Again, our employees control the customer experience. You can see us fueling up a Pilatus PC-12. This is an aircraft that is served by a business owner that lives here in Decatur. And of course, we are a Titan branded fuel provider. So we test the fuel, we control the fuel, we control the customer experience. Again, thank you all for your consideration. Thank you all for your support. I know that you all have been supportive far before my tenure here as airport director at Pryor Field, but we want to continue that partnership, continue the growth that we have in the Tennessee Valley, and we want to, again, continue to serve as the front door and the first impression for the citizens and the businesses that make up the Tennessee Valley. Thank you all so much, and I'll stand for any questions.
Appreciate you being here today. I do think Pryor is a huge asset that many people are not aware of. I guess my only question would be, it's a pretty big increase in requests over previous years. Is that due to the plans you think moving forward, additional operating expenses, staffing, capital project type stuff?
Well,
I think also, I guess, are you requesting the same requests of the other municipalities and counties?
Yes, sir. I think that's a great question. So yes, we are requesting the same amount for all the other entities. This is really the answer is multiple phases. We feel that the life cycle of the airport, especially, let's take a snapshot of the last 5 years. We contribute and bring a lot of economic impact. You know, our requests for that we've had in the past, I mean, it really doesn't provide any support for growth. And we have a very aggressive plan for growth that ties to a lot of jobs. Earlier I mentioned that the entities that we're dealing with could bring as many as 600 jobs right here in our back door. And of course, you know, we directly serve in the role of that front door capacity. And we think that with our plan, or our capital improvement plan, our ACIP that I mentioned, that you know, we could very well take it to the next level and again increase our economic impact. That $14.8 million of economic impact that I mentioned, $815,000 in taxes. You know, we think that that's significant number that we contribute and give back to our entities, and so we're requesting that we have some support greater than the previous year so that we can continue with the need that we have at our front door.
Thank you.
So those additional requests were to Athens, City of Athens, Limestone County, and Morgan County.
Yes, we all don't drop at the same time, so it
Yeah.
is a phased approach, but yes, that will be,
And we typically have all funded almost very similar amounts.
yes, sir.
Because it's jointly owned. or-
Yes, sir, 25% on.
All right, I don't know. Carlton, are you, his question was about, he texted me his question about the,
No, I think you and Kyle handled it.
there you go. All right, any other questions?
I'm good.
Thank you all so much.
Appreciate it.
Just
Yes,
something to point out, Mr. Pike, we talked about this a lot. As we took over and we took over as FBO, one of the things that we've been trying to do is become more self-sufficient, because before, the airport was kind of a drain. And we've become very self-sufficient. I know Mr. Fox has only been here a very short time, but, just to reiterate, the additional ask is, we're kind of on this precipice of, if we can just start some of these capital improvement plans, we're really gonna open up the front door for a lot of things coming to Pryor Field. You've heard my spiel before. Pryor Field is the last undeveloped airport in the Alabama, airport system. There are no other airports to be developed at in the Alabama system. So if you look at Shelby County, if you look at, Jack Edwards down at the beach, they're landlocked, that's it, that's all they get. We're not. So as soon as we start this process, it's really gonna take off and be in mind of its own.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
All right. Mr. Langham?
Mr. Judge, to you.
Judge Langham?
Yeah.
My apologies for that.
He might be be known as pickleball player.
Yeah.
So we have a TV audience as well, is that right?
We got
Live stream.
We've got Mr. McMaster
Well,
on the,
today is my 30th wedding anniversary.
and you're spending it with us.
Very excited. My wife
Congratulations.
is on her way up from Montgomery, and we're gonna go out to eat tonight, so
Good.
I'm excited.
That's
Congratulations.
awesome, yeah.
I would like to give you guys a couple of things while we're. Oh, let me know when you're ready.
You're good.
All right. Well, Mr. Ladner, Councilman Ladner and Councilman Pike, thank you for having me.
Mr. McMasters is on the phone.
He's on the phone,
Yes, sir.
all right? He attends church with me as well. Very good. Well, first of all, I am the president of Decatur Orchestra Sol Ponticello, which is the adult orchestra. It is the best kept secret in Decatur, Alabama. We've been around since 2014. So I'm going to give you just a brief history of the orchestra, if I may. We've only made a request for $15,000, and I'll explain how we came up with that request in a moment. But we started out as a chamber orchestra back in 2014, just a small group. So that was our first, that's at the Columns over there on the corner of Jackson and 6th Avenue. Next slide, if you could. And you can't really read that, but that's a timeline of the concerts we've had since 2014. And they've gotten progressively larger and more well-attended. The last concert we had was in May of 2022, and we had 50 musicians. We did Beethoven, and we had about 250 attendees. It was at the church, and venue is an issue, but the church was kind enough to allow us to use their facility, so we've grown. The brochure that I handed you has the upcoming concert season. We have probably one of the, I see some people here, I see the librarian and some of the others. I have one of the hardest working boards anyone could ask for, and I wanted to tell you who they are, but that's later on if you go to the next slide. Our first concert, as I said, November 2014, and our conductor, Viljar Wyman, he comes to us via Estonia. He's visiting Estonia right now, visiting family, and hopefully we'll be back in a few weeks. but he is very talented. He came from Estonia to Canada and ended up in Decatur, Alabama. We're very lucky to have him. May I show you the next? Our second concert, we added winds. As I said, we've gotten progressively larger. That was in 2015. The next one. We combined, we try to reach a broad audience, and we want to be inclusive. And we included the bluegrass group, Iron Horse. If you've never heard them, they're out of Muscle Shoals area. They're incredible. And we did music incorporating the bluegrass group, and it was very festive and very enjoyable. A lot of you know Jacob Frank. He's our concert master. He also heads up the Decatur, he conducts the Decatur Youth Symphony, which we work closely with. I'll explain that in a minute. Next slide. We've brought people in from far and wide. We had a lady from Estonia, and then we've had other performers, particularly Miss Christy Weber, who performed at our Christmas concert this past year, and she's an incredible soprano, along with one of our board members here, Ms. Scalfano. She's also a lot of talent on our board. Next slide, if you would. We had Ms. Eves from Estonia to perform, and we used the concert hall at the new Decatur School. Next one. Then we had Miss Arku, and she sang and performed as well. Next slide. This is my wife and I with Miss Arku. Next slide, if you would. Mm-hmm. These are some of our working board members, shows how active they are. Next slide. More, that's, you may recognize on the far end, Faye McWhirter. Faye McWhirter preceded me as president of the board. All of you know, or many of you know, Roger, her husband, became very ill and died here a few months ago, and so she stepped down and I took her place. Ed Nichols has been president of our board, the former superintendent, and we've had other presidents, but we've tried to maintain continuity in our organization. Ken Looney from Central was also president. Next slide. We even performed in the Christmas parade. And I have to tell you, I don't know why, but that was the fastest Christmas parade I've ever been in my life. We started, of course, at the beginning, and I was over at the Bank Street before I had even a chance to realize it was over. I don't know why they were in such a hurry. We were trying to hand out brochures, but that was a really fast Christmas concert, Christmas parade. Next slide. This is our fundraiser we had at Cook Museum. I attended the wedding of John and his wife, Cook, back in, let's see, gosh, when was that, 1977. I was at their wedding. I met John Cook at the University of Alabama when I was in law school, and his wife, and known them ever since, and they've helped us out. And we had a function at the Cook Museum, a fundraiser, and that's just some people having fun there. It was a great forum. Next slide, if you would. That's just some of the people involved. Gay Maloney, a lot of you recognize Gay and Sarah. We had a great attendance. Next slide, please. This is our current board of directors, and Susan Alexander, she teaches nursing at UAH, and she's involved very heavily with the concert. Olivia Wyman. Olivia is a great story. She is the daughter of Villar Wyman. She moved off, went to school in Canada, but she came back to Decatur, and she works at Weir Howell, and she is in the orchestra, and she's on our board, so I'm proud of that. You know, we want to bring kids back here, and we want to have them, those like that have been through the Decatur Youth Symphony. They've learned to play an instrument. We want them to be able to put that talent to use. And then let me see, I don't have my glasses here. Melanie Scalfano. Everything you see that looks like it was professionally done, Melanie did it. It's unbelievable. The brochures, this slide presentation, everything. She's incredible. She does more things, and we work on a bare bones budget. Then let's see, Amelia Adams, she's going to perform, and she's a counselor. Then Judy Robbins. Y'all don't know Judy, but she moved here from Montgomery about 3 years ago, and she's a bigger ambassador for Decatur than a lot of people who have lived here all their lives. She just goes on and on about Decatur. And when she heard about our board, she said, I want to be on it. And she's been working, she's our secretary. She also helps us write grants. And then, let's see, who else have I got there? Barbara Hayes, she's an insurance person, and she's very active. She's like me. We can't whistle, much less play an instrument, but we love music. And then, let's see, we have a new Dr. Daly, who is a new board member, along with another board member, Giovanni. He's so new, I have trouble saying his name. DiCario. He plays classical guitar. He lives in Hartselle. He's performed at the Carnegie 7 times solo. He's performed for President Clinton. He's performed for Pope John Paul at the Vatican. And he picked this place, and he's on our board, and he will be performing at our next concert in October. Why are we asking for the city for money? Well, classical music is timeless, it's ageless, it's beautiful, and when performed live, it can actually reach the very depths of a person's soul and touch them. It's amazing, the impact of classical music. We have the Decatur Youth Symphony that was started by Mr. Stan Belsky, and it's grown. I think there were like 20 students when he started it several years ago, and now we have anywhere between 250 and 350 performers at First Baptist Church. We have a concert, and they perform all over at various functions. And I want them to be able to use that talent and use it with our orchestra, and some of them perform with us. But the reason we're asking for the city, just cut down to the chase here, you have the Daikin Amphitheater. Right now, it's not up to what we would like to see to put on a quality concert. If you look on the sheet that I gave you there, the brochure, we have a concert scheduled in May. It's like a Boston Pops concert. We hope to have it there at the amphitheater. I met with your architect and Mr. Burnett, and he and I went over some plans. You're going to put some light. I think Daikin has given some money to put in some lighting and sound, and that'll enhance. And also we talked about doing like a sail, a canvas covering, if you will, that stretches from the lighting back to the stage. It offers a covering. And then we would do some panels in between the gaps so that the sound is reflected back. And then it'll be an incredible concert. And we want it to be open to the public. In the budget that we have a $73,000 budget for the coming year. Currently, we have about $20,000 that we have available. We've applied for grants. We're asking for corporate, individual sponsorships. We're going to sell ads in our programs. But we want this one to be free. And in our budget, we estimated that it would cost us $15,400 to put on that concert. Our request was for $15,000. We would like to make this available to the city. It would be a patriotic type concert, and the nature of the amphitheater, it really should be free. There's no way really to wall it off. And we would like it to be free where people can enjoy it. And if these, I understand from Mr. Barnett, these additions or changes to the amphitheater have to be bid out. So until that's done and it's completed, but certainly by May of 2023, that should be done. And that's when we really want to have this concert. And like I said, our orchestra is one of the best kept secrets. When people attend our concerts, they're blown away by the quality of the performance, and they just can't believe it. And they say, why have I never heard of this? It's difficult to get the word out. And we're just asking I know there's Mr. Jackson and Mr. Pepper, and we have Mr. McMasters, but I hope y'all will talk to them and tell us, we really want to make this performance for the city of Decatur. I think it'll help the city, but classical music is needed. It really is. It serves a role that nothing else. People like Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, though that is timeless. That music was written several hundred years ago, and it's as beautiful or more beautiful today. But on a sheet of paper, it's just notes. Until you have the performers that can do that music. And then when you have them, something magical happens. And we want to share some of that magic with the city of Decatur at the Dyken Amphitheater. With your help, we'll be able to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Any
I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. McMasters?
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McMasters.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all
Appreciate
please
it.
tell Mr. Jackson and Mr. Pepper.
We will, and you can definitely call them if you want.
I will most certainly do that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Judge.
It's appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, we're getting close to the end here. Miss Sherry with the library, you're up.
I can.
I will also be emailing a copy of what I'm sending out and distributing today, so you'll have that online as well. So, good afternoon, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you today. As you know, Decatur Public Library supports all ages from babies to pre-K, our students from elementary school to college, adults and seniors by providing such essential services as early literacy, education, programming, access to materials, information, and technology. As our library that has served this community for over 117 years and was established by the City of Decatur, we are dedicated and proud to be serving our residents and adding to the quality of life for our city. 79% of our registered patrons are Decatur City residents, while the second largest component live outside the city in Morgan County. And as I spoke to you last year, I told you how over the past 4 years, while providing the variety of services that we do, we have faced some serious challenges and implemented many significant cost-saving measures. We still continue to recover from our county funding cut of 50% during 2018, as well as the continued drops and fluctuations, sometimes as high as 20%, that we encounter with our TVA funding, which is our second largest allocation. We have also experienced increased costs and expenses over the past 4 years, such as books, materials, and online resources have gone up by 17%, and general operating expenses have gone up by 12%. In just this past year alone, we've seen book costs increase by 11% and contents insurance by 25%. So, in order to offset and mitigate these factors, we made some very difficult decisions and cut costs as much as possible, such as eliminating 1/3 of our workforce, consolidating departments, duties, streamlining operations. We joined in with the city's health insurance program. We automated several library services. And all of these efforts led us to an annual savings of over $95,000 a year. And just recently this year, we allowed 2 of our full-time positions where individuals retired to go into attrition. To give you an idea of the impact of our staffing cuts, when I started at DPL in 2015, we had 23 staff positions. We now have 13 as we continue to add new services each year. Because of these annual savings, we have been able to cover increases in operating expenses during the past few years, but we have now exhausted our large opportunities to reduce costs and need your help. For this upcoming fiscal year of 2023, we are requesting a 3.3% funding increase from the city of $15,240. So, what has life been like at the library this past year? In short, we have a new hive of activity in our library. Without a doubt, we have seen a definite shift in how our residents have been using us. People are getting out and reconnecting. Patrons are no longer primarily using our resources online as they did at the height of the pandemic, but they are reconnecting directly with us in the library by checking out lots of physical materials as well as attending programming, and they are hungry for both. The pandemic was hard on our community, and people are now using the wealth of resources and services that the library has to offer to reconnect, engage with each other, improve their personal situation, and enhance their overall quality of life. Residents use our 24/7 Wi-Fi and public computers to conduct research for school, update their resumes, and apply for jobs because either they have no internet at home or more often the internet that they do have at home functions poorly. This past year, patrons took advantage of over 46,000 internet sessions. That said, those residents that discovered our online resources aggressively use them now, and the demand for those has increased exponentially. Our online newspapers have been a big hit as residents' accesses have increased by 225%. We responded to this demand by adding new digital image editions to our current and archival newspaper databases. This past year, patrons checked out 152,552 materials and downloaded 56,982 ebooks and audiobooks. Decatur residents like to read. So requests for new books have also increased by 238% in 1 year. They placed over 6,400 title reserves through our online catalog. To meet this demand, we added this past year over 5,400 new physical materials. Think about that, that's over 450 books a month, as well as 546 new electronic titles. We also continue our strong focus on early literacy for the youngest members of our community by providing story times and activities that focus on those fundamental skills to prepare them for lifelong benefits. We conducted 93 early literacy programs attended by over 2,400 little ones this past year, and they read over 29,000 Easy Reader books. Our program attendance has increased by 90% over the past 5 years. During 2021, we held 189 programs attended by over 27,000 children and adults. We had training classes, workshops, STEM activities, book clubs, school tours, Lego clubs, puppet shows, local history programs, author visits, and of course, countless story times. And when the community couldn't come to us, we brought the library to them through camp visits, senior home visits, and programs at our local parks. This past year, we held our 40th, yes, 40th, annual quilt show, which brought in over 5,500 visitors, AKA quilting fans, from all over the Southeast to view the 47 quilts and talents of our local artisans. And just this past Friday, and I don't think we'll do this again in July because it was really hot, we wrapped up our summer reading finale, Pirate Day, with all of our staff dressed as pirates, and we even had a pirate ship on site, the Ye Olde Crooked Goat float. And in one day, we had 572 kids and families join us for all-day pirate activities and fun. But also, for over 30 years, Decatur Public Library has hosted free tax assistance through our partners with the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. And I really love this program because it serves an enormous benefit to our local residents, especially our senior citizens and low-income families. Tax Help volunteers start training in November in preparation for the current year, and each tax counselor must be certified through the IRS. Every year, free tax help is offered at Decatur Public Library from February through April 15th. Library staff and tax counselors work together to help as many people as possible to ensure residents receive refunds. Such income is vital to these families' survival, as well as providing spendable income generated back into our community. This past year, volunteers worked 1,011 hours and filed 1,070 tax returns, with refunds totaling over $1.2 million. That is a direct impact on the livelihood of our local residents as well as our economy. We offer and have accomplished so much more than I can cover in our allotted time, but I hope you'll take a few minutes to look over the information before you and that I will email you, because you, as our city council, deserve to know how we spend our allocation for our community. This upcoming year, we want to continue to reinvest back into our community to meet those needs, whether it's for materials, technology, early literacy, or programming for all ages. And with your help, we can do that. Thank you so much for your time.
Mr. Pike?
I'm good.
Mr. McMasters?
No, that was very informative, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think I have any questions, but very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sherry.
All right, two more. Mr. Cooper with the Decatur Youth Symphony.
Yes, I'll just introduce our new executive director, Jessica Clark. She's going to handle this.
All right.
I used to be a freshman speech teacher in South Carolina, so this very much brings back speech day memories, sitting on that side of the desk. Thank you for your time and listening to our presentations. As Mr. Cooper said, I'm Jessica Clark with the Youth Symphony. I just wanted to briefly explain some of what we were able to do this past year with your funding and want to continue this year. The funding through the city is so vital to the programs that we're able to offer to students. Decatur Youth Symphony's mission is to transform lives through music by providing students the opportunity to learn and perform music, actually impacting the culture of our community. Everything we do is community focused. We are an equal opportunity organization. Any student of any background, regardless of economic status, has total access to our programs. And we really strive to make access something that's very easy and give them ample opportunities to be involved. And some of those opportunities that took place within just the Decatur city limits, second grade violin program. That happens in all of the elementary schools that have a second grade class. There's 11 just in the Decatur city limits. That's around 1,000 students alone, just in that program. We have an outreach program called Breakfast with the Classics. That happens in 5 different elementary schools within the Decatur city limits. That's for students in 3rd and 4th grade that want a specific opportunity to learn an instrument such as violin, viola, cello, or guitar. This is a year-long program. It's completely free. They get their own instrument to use for the year, weekly instruction, access to field trips and special events for further music education. We also have 4 different levels of orchestra programs. This is approximately 8 rehearsals that meet weekly. We have enjoyed our partnership with the Alabama Center for the Arts. They allow us to use our recital hall for our rehearsals. And I think that's made a really big difference for the students actually walking into that atmosphere. It's a very professional, very inspiring environment to actually perform music in. And I think that's made a big difference. We have percussion programs that take place all over the community in Decatur. We've this past year enjoyed new drumming exercises / therapy sessions for adult seniors and adults with special needs at the Turner Searles Center. We also have 2 classes over at the Decatur and Austin High AIM centers for students with special needs. We have percussion programs for Decatur Youth Services, Kid, Teens, and Tweens, and Boys and Girls Clubs as well. The percussion program itself reaches nearly 200 students, and this is all free access for the students that are involved. We're working on developing a partnership with NARCOG to be able to provide transportation to a lot of our outreach students to be a part of our core orchestra program. That in the past has been a challenge, getting the students that are meeting in the schools or in various locations to actually get plugged into the core program. And so NARCOG is going to be very instrumental in making that opportunity possible. Our chamber orchestra is kind of our top tier, most advanced group. That's the group that goes out into the community the most and performs for different organizations, corporations. We get several requests throughout the year, any special functions. Hey, can you send a group to come play for us? And we say yes as often as possible. The Decatur City has invested so much in our organization, and we seek any opportunity possible to give back to the community. So not only do we have all of these things happening and are continuing to do that this year, but we're working on some internal improvements as well. This last year, we diversified our orchestra team, our team of instructors and coaches. We've brought in people that have different strengths that actually have made the organization stronger. We've also started working on a rebranding, developing a new logo and creating a new website that's more user-friendly, that actually will give us better access as we're writing grants. So not only are we seeking to improve what we do out in the community, but we're constantly evaluating ways that we can improve the organization itself. The funding provided by the city makes up roughly 20% of our operating budget. And without your funding, these programs would be significantly impacted. Most of these programs are provided at zero cost to the students. And so we really rely on the city funding and other community partners and grants to make that possible for these students. So with that, I say thank you, and I hope that you will continue to partner with us in the future as we serve you. Any questions?
I'm good, thank you.
Carlton?
I'm good, thank you.
I don't have any. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, last one.
Uh-oh.
Morgan County Child Advocacy Center, Miss Misty. We're doing pretty good. We're only 10 minutes, so that's good work on everybody.
Down. Josie, down. She wants to come visit you.
Oh, perfectly fine with us.
No, don't bother us at all.
Hey, what's back there?
There she goes. Well, good afternoon. My name is Misty Calger, and I am with the Morgan County Child Advocacy Center, or CAC for short. I appreciate your time today. I guess I am the caboose of this meeting, but we really appreciate it. As you know, we have presented each year, but we're a small nonprofit organization that provides services to children ages 3 to 18 that have experienced abuse, neglect, or that there has been some sort of traumatic event in their life. So that can include domestic violence, that can include being a witness to a homicide, or just any other trauma experience that they could have. We're, like I said, a really small nonprofit. We have 4 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee, and we have a 7-member board of directors, and that includes Scott Anderson, Lainey Alexander, Meredith Matthews, who's here today, Willa Dockery, Chris Priest, Faye Talent, and Steve Sasser. All of the services that the CAC provides were offered at no charge to the children and families in our community. Through June of this fiscal year, which is so October 1 through June, we provided services to 743 children and caregivers already, and we've still got several months left, of course, for this fiscal year. The forensic interview is typically the first service offered and really the entry point for clients to receive services at the CAC. When we get those referrals, generally what happens is DHR receives a report from someone, or any of the local law enforcement jurisdictions like Decatur PD, they receive a report, and if the child is under 18, instead of taking the child here to talk to a police officer at the police department, they call us and we actually interview the children on behalf of the investigators in a forensically sound way, but in a neutral and really child-friendly setting. The general public cannot make referrals for forensic interviews that have to come from law enforcement or DHR. During our current fiscal year, we have so far provided 134 forensic interviews through June. Last fiscal year, we provided a total of 178 forensic interviews, so it's very likely that we will surpass the number last year. Actually, From 10 a.m. until about 2 p.m. today, we've received 7 new cases. So we're busy, unfortunately. We also offer victim advocacy for the caregivers of the children that are receiving forensic interviews, and those are non-offending caregivers. So if the individual in question happens to be the child's guardian or parent, they are not present with them at our center. DHR has already typically identified someone that's safe for that child to be with, so they're the person that brings them to the CAC. Our victim advocates maintain contact with our caregivers during the duration of the entire criminal justice process, which can take several years. We go to court with children, we help them testify, we will go sit in court with them if they need us. And so far this fiscal year, we have provided 1,214 victim advocate services. The third thing that we provide is trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, or trauma-focused therapy for short. That is essentially the gold standard in therapy for children ages 3 to 18 that have experienced some sort of traumatic event. We currently have the one certified trauma-focused therapist in the city of Decatur and Morgan County community employed at our center, so we are glad for that. We have another employee that is in the process of receiving her certification, so we'll have the 2 for the city of Decatur and the Morgan County community soon. Something just to take into consideration is the average cost for one trauma-focused therapy session is anywhere between $100 and $150. It's actually more to the $150 side now, and we provide that service at no cost to the children that come in. So we don't bill Medicaid, we don't ask for their insurance cards, that is just completely free, so that their caregivers don't have to figure out how they're gonna pay for the treatment that they need. Through the current fiscal year, through June 2022, we have provided 651 free sessions to children. Last year, we provided 590, so we've already surpassed that number by 141 sessions. So if we take into consideration the average cost, we have essentially saved children and families in our community $65,000 in services that they would have, if they needed trauma-focused therapy to go out and pay for it, that's the amount of money that they would have had to come up with. The final service that we provide, who's laying next to me right here, her name is Jezzy, and she is a certified court facility dog. So she's not a therapy dog, she's not an emotional support animal, she is a service-trained dog from an Assistance Dogs International organization. And she is placed at our CAC, but she is able to go into forensic interviews, into therapy sessions, and actually into court and sit at the witness stand with children whenever they have to testify. Alabama's one, we're the first state in the US to have a law that says that victims of crime have the right to a certified court dog. And so we are the dog that is assigned to Decatur and Morgan County, and there are 13 so far throughout the state of Alabama. So Jezzy knows 40 commands, and she's just there in the center, and she goes into all the services with kids. And so far this year, she's provided 139 services herself to children. Due to budget cuts, child advocacy centers across the state, including ours, continue to see a decrease in funding through our federal grant, which is the Victims of Crime Act. And that's through ADECA, the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs. So they have the grant and they disperse it to agencies throughout the state. Last year, that grant was cut by $4 million. And we were notified in May of this year that it is expected to be cut another $4 million. So those are victim services agencies throughout the state, including ours, that truly, if they continue to cut the funding at the rate that they cut, we can't function if they continue to cut at that rate without having funding from somewhere else. The totals that amounts to is that this current fiscal year, we were cut by just under $10,000. And then the previous fiscal year, we were cut just under $18,000, which actually resulted in us having to decrease our staff. So we actually had 6 staff members and we decreased to 5. We just couldn't maintain that without the funding. VOCA grants have also decreased in total by 70% compared to 4 years ago through the pandemic as well. We're really unsure of what this upcoming year may be like, but we do know that regardless of funding, regardless of pandemics, that unfortunately child abuse continues to happen. That is something that does not stop even in the face of a global pandemic or funding, crisis and those sort of things. And so, unfortunately, that's just kind of the reality of the world that we live in. And statistics show that 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused before they turn 18, which I know that's really not something that uplifts us, but it's just the reality of the world that we live in. And the other statistics show, big one shows that 90% of children that are abused by someone they know. So it's not typically the stranger danger that we hear about, someone in Walmart kidnaps a child. It's the situations that really rock families, because it's usually a family member or a friend of the family. And so it's very difficult for those families to process and heal from the things that have happened to them. We are the only agency in the city of Decatur and Morgan County that provides these services. So we do have prevention agencies and other agencies that provide therapy, but we're the only child advocacy center. We're the only place that provides forensic interviews and that provides trauma-focused therapy with a certified therapist. We do work closely with the Decatur Police Department. Like I said, if there is a case that comes in and they need that child interviewed, we will work with them on the schedules. Sometimes that means Saturday mornings, sometimes that means Friday evenings. You can't predict, obviously, when those things are going to happen. And so we will work with them to come in and do a forensic interview for a child if they need that done immediately for investigative purposes. With them and DHR, of course, we will coordinate those schedules. The City of Decatur is one of our 4 main funding sources at the CAC. We are hopeful this year that we will receive a small increase of $4,000 from the city. Our increased funding truly is crucial to help maintain the level of services that we are providing to children. Like I said, we've already surpassed numbers from last fiscal year, and we're on track to surpass the numbers that we haven't met already. We're truly probably going to surpass all of them. Children and adolescents residing in the city of City of Decatur comprise 50% of clients served by the CAC. So that is just the Decatur city limits. That those kiddos are 50% of all kids that come to the CAC. This is a 3% increase from previous years. Of the 510 trauma-focused therapies that we provided last year, 55% of sessions were conducted with children who live in Decatur. We understand. This is a 10% increase compared to previous fiscal years as well. As noted above and previously discussed, all of our therapy is provided free of charge, and the ability to provide this service really is dependent on funding through community support. Finally, research by the National Children's Alliance and the National Children's Advocacy Center in Huntsville shows that communities that utilize the Child Advocacy Center model save approximately $1,000 per children and per child abuse case. So last year we provided services to 435 children. So that means that because we have a CAC, we have in turn saved the community $435,000 that they would have had to put into other resources if they would not have a Child Advocacy Center in our city. In conclusion, I want to thank you again for your consideration and for your continued support of our center. I know several of you have been there, and if you have any questions, I'll gladly answer those.
You said 4 main funding sources. I guess one is the grant you mentioned. What are your 4 main?
So it would be the Victims of Crime Act through ADECA, United Way, and the Alabama Network of Children's Advocacy Centers in the city of Decatur.
What's your total budget?
Right now, it is, I don't have the number directly in front of me. I think it's 391 or somewhere around there.
Okay. Is he still on the phone? Carlton? You got any questions? Okay. Obviously, incredibly important service that you guys provide to these kids. I wish it was not necessary.
We do too.
But thank you for that. I don't have any other questions.
I'm good.
If we
Thank
don't,
you.
so
Thank you.
You're gonna sum it up for us?
Yeah, so that kind of wraps it up. Thank you all for making time today. I know We shortened it from previous years, which I think is good. But take everything we learned today. There's a lot of good facts, a lot of different organizations that do a lot of great things in our city. And the purpose of these meetings is for you guys to make the commitment, if the funding wise, that they are going to use our funds for a significant community impact. So if you guys have any questions.
That's what we
for me.
learned from Herman, right?
So from here, what I will do is try to gather some communications with you all on the direction you want to go with these requests that are higher than previous years. And then I can start working those into the budget with operations, personnel, and capital with all the other departments. So,
Okay, I would recommend that we, and this is live stream, so go back and just look at what the requests were, and then give Kyle feedback on.
That'd be great.
Any feedback you have on any of these requests. So,
awesome.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
We are adjourned. Thank you.